All right, everybody. Here we are, another version of the Viking Book Club. This month we are talking about Kingdom Come, issues 1, 2, 3, and 4 by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. Surprisingly enough, Mark Waid did not answer my request to be on the show. I don't know how that happened, but
probably still miffed about how badly he defeated me in trivia.
Probably.
He expected better out of me.
But we got a couple guys joining the panel tonight, but we will be bringing them on right after this. All right. The first person to join us tonight is that awesome, crazy guy, Collecting with Durs.
Hello, everybody. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing well. You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. It's an honor to be here.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Then we have Mr. Brother John Comics. How we doing tonight, man?
We are good, man. We are good. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. I'm ecstatic to be here.
Nice.
And then last, but certainly not least.
Oh, he's least.
Okay, least. All right.
The very least. Let's fucking go.
The time has come to talk about Kingdom Come.
Yes, sir.
How long you been waiting for that joke? I want to know.
Like a week.
A week? Mark has been wanting to talk about this for the past 2 months. That's how much he wanted to talk about this.
I'm not even a DC guy, and him hyping it up made me order this and
I can
read
hype
it.
some shit up now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
But this one deserves it. This one lives up to
Right.
it.
Agreed.
This is probably the most agreed upon,
Hey, Bert.
well-written story across comic books. It's
DJ.
not everyone's favorite, but it's the most agreed upon. This is a great story book that probably exists in comics.
He's not wrong.
I really am.
Jim's brother.
There are not many detractors of
That's
this,
mean.
of this story.
Exactly.
It was very unique in its own way, especially it being an Elseworld story. I really enjoyed that.
To dive into this with this panel. This is such a great panel from Becker and John, who have been doing this unbroken forever. To me, who read this as a little kid, who's been
Von Hood, how you doing, man?
Alan, who's new to the story, Durs, who's new to the story. This is a great panel to get so many different perspectives on it and to really learn a lot from each other on this one. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Same. I've been excited all week, all month actually.
I've been excited since third grade for this. Let's do this, Alan.
He's been
All
ready.
right. So we're going to start. All right. So the story sets off with Wesley. Wesley's in the Wesley's right. That's his name, right? I didn't.
Wesley Dodds.
Wesley
Yeah.
Dodds.
Wesley
Yeah.
Dodds. He's in the hospital.
The original Sandman.
The original Sandman.
Did not know that.
Yeah. He is seeing visions or prophecies, if you will. Dreams. Yeah.
He's having dreams.
Yeah.
Sandman.
And
You're off to a great start, Alan.
Yeah, you're nailing it.
And he's telling his pastor, Mr. Norman McKay.
Norman McKay.
And now I'm going to stop because Norman deserves his own little section of this.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, Norman McKay was based on Alex Ross's father, also named Norman, who looks exactly like Norman. Alex used him as reference. And Norman Ross is, there you have it. And Norman Ross did what for an occupation, Mark?
He is a reverend at a Protestant
Presbyterian.
Presbyterian.
Yep.
Church, yep. What?
Touching on that, it added so much to the story because Beckerman told me that after I read it. So now I went back, he shared the picture of him, and I was like, wow, that's spot on. That adds so much depth and layer to the story and extra meaning that I didn't even get going through it the first time.
And not to cut anything up, but let's start at the beginning. This book opens up two visions, to a dream of an eagle fighting a bat on a battlefield at what is to be seen as apocalypse. It's important to preface it that this book starts with the end of the world in a premonition, in a dream. And it's an eagle fighting a bat, which is symbolism of what's to come. And that lead, we come out of this dream at the bedside of Wesley. They don't even reveal yet that it's Wesley Dodd, but just Wesley talking to his pastor, giving pretty much his final send off. You know, he's old and at a point in his life where he doesn't have many friends left. And we find out later that he came to the church late in life and everything, but they're saying their goodbyes, and Wesley's having an episode, and which is kind of telling what happens next with Norman's experience through the book.
And it hits you, that really hits you right from the front, that opening image, because it's not just an eagle fighting a bat, but the eagle has a spear that is very reminiscent of Diana's spear that she carries at times throughout this book. And so it kind of sets the tone right at the front of like, oh, what is going to happen here? And,
I'm not even a DC guy, and I picked that up right off the rip.
Yeah.
So,
and then immediately into those kind of visions, and with the kind of scripture laying the foundation there, kind of let you know right from the beginning, this is going to be something different.
Mm-hmm.
Beckerman, you're on the edge of your seat. What do you got, bro?
I'm just excited. I love talking this book. It was such a great, like, I mean, yes, the words are by Mark Waid. It's the dialogue is definitely Mark Waid, but trust and believe, this is an Alex Ross story.
Yeah, this context. This was him hot off the heels of leaving Marvel, having done the Marvels over there, where he told the story from.
And I got that timeline screwed up for a minute. I forgot Marvels came out first.
Yeah,
cleared it up before the show.
Marvel for that short stint, then he came to DC, and he wanted to bring his vision to a DC book, and this is it.
And this is it. Another thing to kind of set up, we quickly get introduced to this world. It is, I guess we could call it a futuristic world filled with superheroes. The Golden Age is definitely, the Golden Agers are all old, like Wesley Dodds. Some of them, due to their powers, don't look as old, but the old guard is just that, they're old. And you have a new crop of more vicious anti-heroes. And you kind of look at what was going on at the time that Alex wrote this. You had Image coming out, and everybody was talking about the new 90s heroes. They were badasses. They were killers. They were, big guns, big boobs, big times, big explosions. And you kind of see that in the commentary here. The new heroes are very Image-esque. And in fact, a lot of them are wearing shoulder pads, which does not go unnoticed to me at this age.
No.
The first time I was like probably a little blind to it, but now I'm like, oh, he's commenting.
Especially when you see him on the news crew and like the newscasting talking about him on the TV and stuff. That's when it's really like hyping him up and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and as we get into our story.
Well, I was going to say the introduction that you mentioned to this world was Norman leaving the hospital, kind of narrating, going through Wesley's funeral, walking the streets, seeing anarchy and havoc just taking place with these random fights that are happening. And he points out that it's not amongst good guys and bad guys. The lines are blurred. It's just people with powers with no responsibility. And this is one page that I talked to Alan and pointed out to him. This is also where you get your first amazing Easter egg, especially for the time era, because he walks past a bookstore. And in a book like this, you study every panel. And right inside that bookstore window is none other than Under the Mask by Hollis Mason, straight from the Watchmen universe at the time, which was nowhere near crossing over with DC. But this might have been one of the first, I
think it's more of an Easter egg than...
Of course it is, but this could have been one of the first times that they really did that. Easter
because
egg.
I would say also, this book, and I think I described this to you, Durs, that this absolutely followed in the footsteps of Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns with their dystopian futures,
right.
Like Ross and Miller in turn were competing to tell a better, or not a better, but their own version of American flag. They were both chasing Howard Chaykin.
Right.
Yeah. You liked that. That honestly, Mark, I threw that out for you.
Yeah, my man's invented dynamic panel layouts. You know what I'm saying?
I could literally just go fishing for Mark with I'll just throw a little chum in the water where he's like, American flag.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, though, Beckerman, to your original point on that, the working title of this book was End of the Heroic Age. That's what it was called before it was called Kingdom Come. So Ross very much had a commentary in mind on the not just the story, but the industry as a whole through this story. I feel.
And I don't want to jump too far ahead, but we also get a heavy dose of religion because, as we said, this is Alex Ross, taking his childhood and essentially putting it into a story, and you have heavy biblical tones in this opener, and you learn that humanity is essentially replaced Superman with a guy dressed as a golden cow. So at times they're really hitting you with a bag of hammers as far as to making their point to everything.
Oh, there's a lot of subtle and not subtle. I mean, various.
Yeah. Honestly, Magog is a bag of hammers. It's like, here's my point.
But it also plays it where it doesn't feel too heavy-handed, being that we're taken through this journey with all these religious tones via our narrator. We're coming at this from one perspective for the most all of it, and that's as an onlooker through the eyes of Norman McKay, who is
What's up, man?
a reverend. He's a religious man, so it only makes sense with this narrator, which we've accepted from the beginning, to see it this way and to put it into this perspective. Whether you're religious or not, you can feel for your narrator and understand where he's coming from, where it doesn't seem like it's the writer serving it to you. It's by way of our journey of the narrator.
But I don't
think
think
that works out good.
I don't think it was too heavy at all with that part. I feel that it worked perfectly.
I didn't mean
I know you didn't mean
sound like that.
Oh, it's direct. There are some very direct moments.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very direct. But
I'm just saying you definitely you don't have to be that deep diver of a reader or looking for every detail to be like, oh, Magog is a shining golden calf.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
I mean,
he
you
is.
don't even have to be knowledgeable about religion
Right.
to pick up
know
on
that
some of
Yeah,
this.
what
but the
there's-
horns give it away.
Yeah, the horns is what did it for me.
And we were talking right before you arrived, Mark, and I'm going to skip just a little bit ahead. When Kansas is destroyed is my favorite part because I work in Kansas, but I live in Missouri. So that would be like the ultimate snow day for me.
Did we touch on who the reason why he's narrating? Did we touch on how the Spectre?
That's where we're at in the story. So I'll
Okay.
just put the plot here if y'all don't
Just
mind.
wanted, yeah, go ahead. That's why I wanted to make sure everybody knew why he was narrating.
We do the little rumble through society with Norman, and he dives into the Planet Krypton bar and stuff and walks past that. And we just get a view of the world. Places will return again and stuff like that. But then we get to see him talking about how he's really in a weird place with how he's looking at society, what it's come to. The loss of his friends hit him weird and made him reflect. And he's in front of his congregation giving a sermon that he's not very proud of. He's giving a sermon that he feels like he's doing a disservice to his crowd. So he's really questioning himself, like what can I do in a world like this? Do I even serve a purpose in a world like this? Am I causing more damage than good in my own life? And about that time, we get to the real meat and potatoes. And my main man with pots and pans, the Spectre, comes sliding through the stained glass, calling out to him, and he thinks that he's lost his mind at first. We get some of these panels are just that moment
Incredible.
sliding through. But Norman thinks that he's just an apparition at first. He believed him to be an angel and stuff, and we get a little bit of narration that it tells us like that the Spectre, because of his age, has kind of lost his potency, and that he needs Norman. That he requires Norman because Norman has inherited the gift of dreams from Wesley in Wesley's final hour. So he needs Norman's visions to guide him.
He needs Norman to help with the judgment.
Yep. I liked how it explained that and
Because the
explained why
lines
he
are
was such a
blurred
more
for
important
Spectre.
character. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yep.
not just that, but he needs Norman to take him to these places to even witness it. It's Norman's visions
Yep.
that are guiding them. It's not the Spectre taking them anywhere.
Right. They're surfing Norman's.
Right.
But yeah, so that's where we really pick up on where we'll be traveling through the rest of the story, through the journey that Norman goes on with the Spectre through this world that's fallen.
And that's one of those not so subtle things in that biblically every prophet had a angel that provided guidance and interpretation. That's how you knew they were a true prophet. And so here we see his angel just happens to be somewhat the angel of death in the
Yeah.
Spectre, and he's having to fight through these visions or try to understand these visions with this guide that is not too clear himself on what is going on, and he can't deliver any judgment. He needs Norman for that.
And the first place that they go is to see Clark Kent, because he's no longer Superman. He's Clark Kent back at his farm doing farming,
Building,
lifting
farming,
tractor, and all kinds of other things that he does. And you see Diana come to visit Clark Kent, and so Norman and Spectre, nobody can see them yet, and and Diana's there to get Clark / Superman back to come back, and he's like, no, and he said that he's not afraid of the Golden Cow, but
Magog.
I can't pronounce his name that well, so I'm just gonna go with that.
He whooped him.
And so she's trying to convince him, and he just constantly says no.
I think it's important to look at that final panel before we travel to go see Clark. That final panel with the Spectre giving the final send-off to Norman before they leave on their journey. He says, once Earth boasted other saviors who might have stemmed the tides of destruction, but as you will see, they are no longer the solution. So it's already it's coming like a doomed journey.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of what they're trying to do is trying to stop Judgment Day, to judge those responsible and hold off the apocalypse. And they start with a defeated Superman.
Who looks great. Sure.
He does. That salt and pepper really tasty.
It's my favorite Superman. And it always
Superman in overalls and no shirt.
No, just this Superman.
And if
is
you
my favorite.
not to, again, we could probably say this a lot, not to get too far ahead, but we talked about Ross using his dad as the model for Norman McKay. He used the same model for Superman as he did for Magog. So if you look, especially if you look at the covers, their faces are the same.
Yes,
which is very interesting.
Very similar.
Alex Ross's face is normally pretty similar too, because a lot of times he uses himself as the model.
Yeah, that's true.
You got Power Girl looking like Alex Ross with a wig.
Yeah.
George Clooney.
Yeah.
And that is also isn't that also where Kal-El or Clark Kent finds out Diana lost her crown?
Mm-hmm. Not yet.
Not yet.
Nope, not yet.
He didn't find out about that yet. Oh.
During the
Farther
conversation,
in.
yeah, this is where we see three distinct phases of Superman through this book. So the Superman that we know and love, the values, the morals, and everything that he stands on, the truth, justice, the American way. This is not him. This is a defeated, passive, given up on life and society. We don't know why yet. And it's important to look. It looks like she goes and visits him on Kansas, but he's hiding in the fortress. He has an AI canvas-looking thing, a farm that he's pretending to tend that serves no real purpose. But we're in the fortress.
Well, I mean, the cows think it serves a purpose.
Yeah, they're just chilling. He's got
They got-
horses. They're chilling.
Well,
Hey, Mark, do me a favor and show off that shirt for a minute, because this is what I meant by this is my favorite. That is the best.
you know why it's black, right? My man's mourning.
Good morning.
Oh boy, God, I love Kingdom Come so much.
But yeah, he's having that conversation with Wonder Woman. He refuses just to listen to her words and come back. The world needs you, all that talk. And she's telling him how bad it's getting out there and how things just got worse than they could ever imagine. And he turns on this giant observation center that he has with countless different screens and televisions where he's just watching quietly. And everyone's just assuming at this point that he's afraid to go back and face Magog, that he was straight punked out, which is also very out of character for Superman. And when they turn on these TVs, we see probably the worst case scenario has occurred. And this is where Superman learns of it.
Yeah, and it shows Magog defeating Captain Atom as well.
No.
And saying that he split him open.
Yep.
Magog is on the team. Magog is running the team of vigilantes at this point. They're his Justice League. Since
Yeah.
Superman's gone, he's like top dog. He's got a band of vigilante style justice members with him on a team, and they went out to apprehend the Parasite. The team consists of one of the Metal Men. You have Judo Master 2
All
over
of
on
them.
the top right.
All of the Metal Men.
You have Captain Atom. Yeah, they look like they're all in one, right?
Alloy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alloy. And then you have Captain Atom, who, and you notice the suit design here, right, Becker?
Yeah.
Right? From Captain
Sorry, I
Atom.
had to turn my mic off for a sec. Murdy is getting into stuff right now. But yes, I did notice that. Cover me, buddy. Tag. Here, I'm going to tag you.
Yeah.
All right.
I have
Marksman
a
Proxy.
I have a question. Magog, since I'm not a DC guy, did he have great battles and stuff like furious battles with Superman in the past? Or
This
was
is his introduction. This is his first.
Okay.
appearance.
Okay,
Right
so
here.
that's why I was like, I've never heard of him anymore, so I didn't know if he was anywhere else. Awesome.
And we can touch on that when we like after the show or anything, and we can talk more of that because he has a very
For sure.
interesting, very limited time in comics.
For sure, it was.
It hits
Those
hard.
guys.
But you also have a couple more people, and like I saw Flo in the chat mentioned earlier, you do have Peacemaker on this team, rightfully so, and it really sets the tone when you see Peacemaker right there in the looking like Boba Fett, but you see he's got
These
the
guys old.
on there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, his old school.
So,
So
it
they
gives you
got-
the idea of what kind of people these really are. You know what I mean?
Well, and they've got like all those, that top panel up there. I just love that because they sneak in like all of those Charlton here. I mean, you got like that version of Judo Master. You know, you got Peacemaker. You've got Peter Cannon, Thunderbolt back there behind Peacemaker.
And let's be honest, how pissed
Captain
was Alan
Atom.
Moore?
Oh, he's always pissed.
But you know what I mean? Like DC wouldn't let him do it, and then here's Alex Ross just like,
Running it.
I'm playing with your toys.
So these are all the analog characters to Watchmen, basically, that are running
Yeah,
around.
essentially.
Mhm. So, so during the fight, Captain Atom goes in for Parasite. Parasite with his abilities. Unfortunately, Parasite wasn't meaning to, but he absolutely ripped Captain Atom open, unleashing the nuclear energy that's inside of him and causing an explosion that decimated the entire state of Kansas and the surrounding states, poisoned them all. Done, over with. And then we get to see Superman's reaction, and we cut back to him and Wonder Woman.
And just to catch Durs up on that, yeah, the Charlton. Did you cover the Charlton heroes being
That's a
Watchmen?
conversation for another day.
Okay? Well, just
I'm actually kind of familiar with the Watchmen, so I recognize them. But again, I don't know as much history as I probably
so
should.
Doctor Manhattan is Captain Atom.
Yep, I know that. Yep. Okay.
Peacemaker is the comedian from Watchmen.
Yep. Yeah, I read some of the Watchmen comics back in the day when I was younger. I watched the movies, loved it. I've done some history of the Watchmen, so I'm familiar with them. So I recognize that from the panel. But again, a deep dive in DC is what I'm trying to get more this year.
Just so everybody knows, I'm horrible at reviewing and telling synopsis of stories. I'm not going to be able to do it. That's why.
That's why Mark, as he's talking, I just keep showing the panels for the people.
Well, I don't mind pushing synopsis, but what are your thoughts on this battle with seeing this group come out like that? Superman
it was
on it, like his reaction to it. What do y'all think about all that?
the battle of all the Metal Men, basically, and the Watchmen and stuff like that.
Yeah, the whole happenstance of this team running out there to give justice and destroying an entire.
But really,
state.
they're just fucking up the state of Kansas.
Yeah, I
And
mean
that's-
that's it. You have two sides, of superheroes. You have one that's trying to do what Superman stands for. They've swayed a little bit, but then you have the complete opposite where they want justice by any means necessary, and when they say by any means necessary, that means even against superheroes. So,
And to really put context on this event, Superman just watched this happen. Superman just watched all of Kansas and everyone in it just die, and parts of the surrounding states of Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, all their radiated wastelands. This is the breadbasket and the biggest food source for like the entire country and a lot of the world over. They essentially just killed billions of people worldwide from food shortages and that explosion. And Superman's reaction is still walks off.
That's
Yeah,
what really set the tone for me for this book. Because going in, I didn't even read any of the backstory, and that whole panel, those first couple pages with that happening, and watching Superman's reaction for it, it really set the tone for me. Like, oh crap, that's what this book's going to be about.
And me reading this for the first time, seeing that, saying, "What broke Superman?" Because we still don't know.
Yeah.
We still
Correct.
have not know what
Correct.
happened. And when we
And
get,
when
I already got goosebumps.
And when he said,
I feel it just got to the point where Superman, like society as a whole, was like, you're not good enough, or we don't like the way you're doing it, so on and so forth. And he was like at his wit's end. He was like, all right, you deal with it.
Oh, it's so
That's
much more than that.
That's what I got to feel. That's what I thought. I thought
See
Superman
it.
gave up on humanity. That you guys aren't worth saving. I'm going to go do my own thing.
No,
So, nope.
to a degree, but
Right.
the weight behind it and the reason behind it, and he would never give up on them. They
No,
gave
not
up on him.
completely.
I love the way he says, "There's nothing I can do from here." Like, I'm not fucking leaving, Diana. I'm
Mhm.
staying right here. There's nothing I can do from here. Go back to your island. You're safe
Yeah.
there. Just
Yeah.
go. And like
And she
almost
dips.
like pushing her to be like, to look, you should just be done. Like, I'm done. And it's very intense and very like I said, it throws you for a loop right at the beginning, because it's like, this is so un-Superman like.
Yeah. And then right from there, like she flies off, and then we go back to like kind of like the cosmic form of Spectre, just looking in on everything, talking to Norman. Norman's like, what the hell? Like, what is happening? Where's everyone else? Because Norman still remembers the golden years, the silver years, the years of our day right now. He's like, where is everyone? And that's when Spectre kind of gives us this journey. And as a first time reader, as a kid, this right here was the shit.
Yeah, I was just
Getting
about
to see all these, like this little quick trip across the world,
Mhm.
all the characters that we know finally, because we've been seeing all these weird ones, all these wild ones, but all the characters that we know in a brand new light, in a brand new fashion, and a brand new mentality. And
Mhm.
anybody else want to go take it through the introduction of these characters?
I'd like to hear from Brother John.
I didn't know we'd be called on. But yeah, it goes through and kind of gives you a glimpse of where everybody is at. So you get, and I'll just throw it up here. It
Hell yeah.
starts off with the Flash, and you can see, that he's kind of morphed. Now we know from further reading that this is Wally. Wade says that this is Wally, and
Yes.
he has taken this form where he is almost on another plane of existence with the Speed Force. He traverses between time and space in a way that's constantly in motion
And never stops moving.
and never stops. He can't.
While wearing
I thought that was
J. Jonah.
crazy. I thought that was crazy. That it says he's just always going.
Yeah, and
everywhere at once.
and vibrates at a frequency that often people don't see him or hear him.
He lives between the ticks of the seconds. He is the Flash. My God damn.
Yeah,
that was pretty exciting.
yeah. And then
Just
we see next up it takes us to Hawkman, and we could see he is literally the Hawk God at this point. He is Horus, the Hawk God, and he is still working to try to basically help rebuild from what happened in Kansas. He's an environmentalist savior, so to speak.
Yeah, it looks like he's destroyed some heavy machinery to help save
The
some
forest.
Yeah.
Alan Scott has
And here's
built
the
his,
best one.
built his almost
favorite.
his own emerald city in space to just
Love
chill
it.
down on everyone and be.
I've
away
actually
from
seen
everything.
I've seen this painting in person.
Holy shit. He went full parallax without losing his mind.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
it just sits up there, kind of on his throne, looking down, not sure.
He
You know,
waits
notice
still.
there's an actual detachable spaceship that's docked at the bottom of a space station.
Yes.
That's how next level Alan Scott has gone.
He's got little cities in each one of those bubbles.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
And this isn't power battery. This is Alan
Right.
Scott using the magic flame.
Mhm. It just says he waits still.
He looks so cool.
He does. Like he's got that don't even get on my lawn mentality. Look at him.
For real.
We even have a little little drop of the Legion of Superheroes in there.
Yes.
Yep.
New movie out tomorrow.
Right on.
Yes.
I thought it was out today.
Paul
So-
ordered his online, so it got here a day early.
It's kind of just an interesting run through of where everybody is until they eventually get around to Batman. Where is Batman in all of this, and what has become of him? And it kind of goes through and ends the first book in a way close to the end of the first book, kind of letting you know that Batman has kind of hunkered down, that Gotham, he is controlling that. He is running that the way he wants, but he's not the man he used to be. So he has almost like an army of these bat robots.
Batbots.
Yeah. That he uses to.
So Gotham is now what Metropolis was. It's the shining
Mhm.
beacon city
It's like a
that we
utopia.
were introduced to in TK's current series. Like he was able to finally turn his city around in this universe.
Yeah, Gotham's the safest.
Yep.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's kind of got his crew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And just how he likes it, where he's in charge of all of it. No questions.
One little tidbit. I do wish his little Batbots were cooler. I wasn't a huge fan of how they look. I like their eyes and their helmet design.
They look
But
like robots from the 1950s.
Yeah, I 100% respect the design they were going with. I just, with everybody else looking so cool, I wish they just were a little different.
Yeah, but it
I
might
like
have been
that.
intentionally to reflect Bruce Wayne's age, you know.
Yeah, I like them lit up with the bat signal in the middle.
And as Spectre says, Batman has his own city under control. And if you watch through this whole book, whenever you have moments with Norman and the Spectre, the panel, that bottom panel when we're leaving Gotham, how Norman, if you look at the Spectre, he's just holding the fabric of reality open.
Like a cloak.
Yeah, and they're constantly doing that, like these cool little. They don't just have him sitting there stagnant, like they're just floating in the sky. He's always doing something, coming out of something, coming into something.
I like how they changed the bubbles for the Spectre. I always appreciate that.
I like that they really heightens or shows the level of confusion and fear that Norman McKay is going through
Mhm.
by the fact that he yells at the Spectre. He is literally yelling
Yep.
and calling the Spectre out that he needs to do something, that he is a higher power of some sort and he needs to do something, or he was sent by a higher power. And he's so scared and so freaked out by these visions that he has no way of holding back going after even the Spectre. And it just like, this is a normal person, normal man, and
Calls him a messenger of hope and all that.
yeah, it just lets
Yeah.
you know that he's, these visions that Wesley has visited upon him are just that disturbing. And he tells us that as he's arguing with the Spectre, that this is just the beginning. What I saw,
Mhm.
what I saw was just the beginning. Kansas was just the beginning. There's so much more that's going to happen.
And to Trevor's question, do they delve into how Batman fixed Gotham? I feel they show it in just panels. They don't really
Robots.
use.
No, they tell you he built the bat box and he patrols them. And he literally found a way to reproduce himself. He built robots that he's in control of, so there's more of him all through the city. He's walking.
Omnipresent and always on patrol.
Yep. It's him at his bat computer just controlling them at all times.
And I've been sitting here picturing, because I'm the only one who doesn't have the book sitting right in front of me, and bad planning on my part. But I'm picturing the Batbots in my head, and it really is, to me, it's a throwback to it's just a throwback of the old school days of Batman, and then imagining it's like if Bob Kane told Alex Ross to make a Batbot and then stole credit for it.
Yeah.
Stole exactly.
While sounding like Snagglepuss.
You're an idiot.
That's when they go to a fight between some of these superheroes.
Yeah, ironically, where the Spectre brings them from Gotham to have that conversation, an all-out battle ensues on that bridge. You get some of the new characters, some that'll reappear heavily through the whole book, just having a shootout with some other characters. Now, there's a lot of new characters, new faces, but luckily there are character indexes that are based on the covers that they use where they lay out all these reoccurring characters.
I wish I would have known that before I read this book, by the way.
No, read it as it's intended, then
Right. It just confused me a little bit because again, it's on my part, not knowing as many DC, but I did spend like.
these are all new characters. Nobody knew who these people. They're
Yeah,
just as
a lot of
foreign
the
to-
Oh, see, okay.
They're just as foreign to us as they are. To
Okay.
Norman McKay.
See, I didn't know that because again, DC's not my thing. That's why
The ones
I
that you
love such a
recognize,
raw.
the ones that you recognize are the same ones we recognize.
Okay.
Slight exceptions here and there, because even the ones you know, they don't necessarily even look the same. And in this, you find out that some you think you know
Mhm.
are
Are
child
different
of,
people in those roles.
are
Cool.
different
I don't
people
I don't
in
feel
those
as dumb now.
Yeah.
And some of these are just the children of other superheroes.
Right.
I can't tell you the amount of hours I spent in 1996. I got this book and I discovered the internet at the same time. And I found a thing called the Kingdom Come message board. And I cannot tell you the amount of hours. We just looked at promotional art with these pictures and tried to figure out who everybody
Who they could
was.
be.
Mhm.
And just trying to just like blown away by it. And it goes so deep. It's like even now, years later, I could go back and look at the list and go, "Oh yeah," or just try to refresh.
And do you see, Dirk, do you see that kid where Norman and Spectre are talking? Then the fight breaks out.
Yeah.
You see the big dude with the horns. You see the young kid, the young black
Mhm.
kid with the hoodie
Is
shooting
that
the
Static
lightning.
Shock?
No, see, you could assume it's Static Shock. I
Mhm.
immediately thought it was Joaquin Thunder because
Mm.
at the time Joaquin was a thing then. But if you look, it is in fact. I don't think Joaquin was even in.
He's got an S on his shirt.
No, so
Yeah,
Joaquin wasn't even there yet, was he, John?
No,
So this is pre-Joaquin, and and Alex Ross drew Joaquin in this. It says that he is in fact named Thunder, a new Johnny Thunder with mischievous spirit of the Thunderbolt. So that's clearly Joaquin that later gets invented in comics because he was so young when it's got to be.
Right.
No, that's not Thunder though. That's Stars. So
No, I'm talking about the little kid.
okay, hang on. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right page.
Yeah, you'll see Joaquin when Spectre and Norman are yelling at each other on the bridge.
Right.
When the fight
panel-
first breaks out.
Yeah, the first panel where the fight's breaking out, the little kid with the hoodie on.
Yeah, I immediately thought that was a reference to Static Shock.
Yeah, see, okay. Thunder, yeah, son of the late Black Lightning. I was looking back through these notes here.
That's what I'm looking at as well. I love that they have that. That's incredible that has that.
Yeah, that's Thunder.
Number 29 on the index here has got him listed as Thunder, a new Johnny Thunder with the mischievous spirit of Thunderbolt.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
Shaquem would debut 2 years after this came out.
29's Norman McKay for me.
No, you're looking on the wrong one. Look at the this one
Book one.
because there's 1 through 29 on each one. You have to look off to the
Oh
side.
yeah.
He's
Yep.
Okay.
I see him. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense because that's
So-
his sister. That's his sister right on the other side of.
Yeah, that's lightning right there. Yeah.
Mark, you were saying about how you got goosebumps earlier. It really hit me at the end of the first book when
Which we're at, ironically.
Right where we're at. Is that
There's the
ironically
fight,
my
and then
favorite
there's that
part
panel
too?
where they're like, look up in the sky, and then all
That's
of a
my
sudden
favorite.
you have
Yep.
Superman looking like you pissed in his Cheerios, and now he's about to wreck shit.
The
Oh man,
next
you
page.
didn't even give him the proper introduction. They're sitting there looking at this rail car about to fall from the wire from this shootout, this senseless shootout with civilians all about to die. Norman's still fussing at the Spectre. We need hope. And then suddenly there was a wind, and you just see the fucking blur.
Yeah.
No, not a wind, a blur of motion, bending the steel of their weapons and changing the very course of the mighty river below. And you see everything correcting, all these people dropping like flies, and then you get the classic look up in the sky, and
Mhm.
oh boy's back.
Yeah.
And
And that's when they
Krypton
say-
so loved the Earth, they gave us their only son.
Exactly. Exactly. But that
That's it.
inference,
He is the Christ figure in this story. we
And
saw him
so-
in Kansas with the cross. That first shot of him with that beam
So,
on his back, like he's
My
carrying
big
his
question
cross.
was: is Norman afraid or happy that Superman's come back? Because he says it's not the
Both.
threat. The threat of Armageddon has an end. It's just started.
That's my favorite part of the whole
Back
thing.
up
So
two
is
panels.
he? What?
Say
Back up
top.
two panels.
Says he had not turned his back on us. He stands in the sky, faith rewarded. He is returned, and
then what happens?
then he says, "Dear God, the threat of Armageddon hasn't." Oh,
You're skipping what's in between those.
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. His
Yeah.
vision of seeing
Yes.
him, his vision of seeing him. That's what I was about to explain.
With hope, and then he gets hit
Mhm.
with a dream of Superman in the midst of Armageddon when before he couldn't tell who these characters are.
Yep.
The visions are becoming clearer,
Clear,
insinuating
clear.
that
Mhm.
Superman's return is actually ushering it in. This isn't
It's just
this isn't-
begun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this isn't what we needed. This is actually leading us to Armageddon now. So he's scared shitless now.
Mhm.
And
They
everybody
gave
around
us
him
hope
still
just to
clapping
kick us
and
in the
cheering.
nuts with it.
Superman's back, and then he hits this vision, hits him, and he's just in the middle of all these people, just with this face like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
Oh shit! Yeah.
if he wasn't in astral form, he would have shit his pants.
It took us
Those-
41
those-
minutes, but we
Those
got
were
through.
the panels for me that really made this book stand out as reading it for the first time and in discovering the story. It's like, oh, okay, this is going to be some crazy wild ride. It's going to be dark. It's going to be apocalyptic. I'm really enjoying. And that ends book one, so now we're into book two. So I was really loving it up until this point, which I always loved it.
So, having known how you felt about this, Durs, when you were
Mhm.
halfway through it, you
Mhm.
told me that
It was like,
book two or book three.
yep, it was without spoiling anything. Up until a certain moment in the book, I was at like a 4 or 5 out of 10. And again, for me, I'm not biblical, so that part wasn't resonating to me. But I love the New Testament stuff. But again, as a DC, as I'm reading this, like I explained before, I thought these were all characters that we knew and loved. So for me, it was a little confusing that these were all new characters. I didn't find that out till the
You
end.
thought you didn't know that you were in the club. You felt like you were out of the
Right,
context.
Right.
club. You were
So
all
it
the way-
was, yep. So it didn't click for me until towards the end of the book. So like I said, for everybody out there in chat, halfway where we're at now, I was at a 4 or 5. Towards the end of the book, I finished at about an 8 or a 9 for sure.
And so where I'm getting at now that you've heard all of this stuff and
Mhm.
we've answered some of your questions, how do you look at book one now?
Differently, 100%. I look at the entire story differently now, knowing the things I know. Because like I said, they don't explain anything. I didn't read a synopsis. I wanted just a fresh, raw take of the book. I trust your guys' judgment. I trust your opinions. So for me going into it, the biggest thing for me was just being a little confused of those characters. And again, at the end, it didn't matter.
I'm almost like jealous of you having that first time, that
Dude,
first
there's
untethered experience.
Read it again.
Dude,
That's
there's so many.
in 5
There's
years.
there's
I'm
so
so
many.
envious that you got to have that
Dude,
experience.
there's so many books that I just have never read. Because like I said, as a kid, I read a little bit in the 90s. But once I hit like 13, 14 years old, I dropped off until about 3 or 4 years ago.
John, that's
Yeah.
what I told him. I said, I'm very excited for you because everybody only gets to read Kingdom Come for the first time one time.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, Durs, it was my first time reading it too, and
Nice.
But Mark did tell me a little bit that there are a lot of new characters, and there's going to be some characters you don't know, and that's all he told me. That he
Okay.
because he
See, I didn't even get any of that. I
He
wanted
me
nothing.
to have the
Throw
same
him to the
experience
wolves.
that you had. He wanted me to have the same experience you have that reading it, and I was totally enthralled with this book. I finished it in
Mhm.
less than a day. It was done.
It took me like three days just because of time. I didn't have enough
Time,
time
yeah.
each day to read it, but it was a page turner every single time I read it.
Yeah.
Y'all want me to power push through like
Yes.
the first big battle here, then we can look back on that.
Yes.
Sure.
Highlight someone else to do the page showing, and I'll. So book 2 opens up with another vision. It's just one page splash. It's gorgeous one page splash. Back up one, and you see like pretty much you get the idea of like flip back one. You get the idea of like the heralds of apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
And you get a little bit of like the Bible text there that kind of just puts it into
Straight from
context.
Revelations.
Straight from Revelations. And then we back out and we see that it's Norman's vision once again. It's his dream. He's talking to the Spectre. They're putting a little bit of the plot together here of where they're going to go next. And Spectre opens his cloak because, like I said, they never do this lazy. They always do the Spectre right. And then they go into the next place where we see the Americommando and his Minutemen, another shout out, wreaking all out havoc for no good goddamn reason. And they're at the Statue of Liberty. You get tons of cool Easter eggs, which we can go.
Aren't they trying to stop immigrants from coming in?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah,
That's what
100%
they're
they are.
doing.
for no good reason. They're there just wreaking havoc at literally immigration station.
So let me get this straight for open borders, Mark.
Huh?
We will cleanse American shores. they
I
said.
said I just tried to say, so let me get this straight, Mark. You're agreeing that you want open borders.
No, follow me here. They're at immigration station where even the people who say do it the right way, you cannot argue that this is insane. No
It's
matter how you
stupid.
look at it, it's just
It's
insane.
ridiculous.
Yeah, so
I'm
they're
baiting you, Mark.
Of course. Well, I'm saying the writers of this are actually smarter than your bait, is what I pointed out.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that-
yeah.
That was really like there's no disagree. This should have been common ground happening, but there's still a war on top of it. But of course, the good guys start fighting the good guys, and then the old guard rolls in proper. It looks like Superman spent a little bit of time. He's got Alan, he's got Wonder Woman, he's got the Ray Power Girl looking like Alex Ross with titties is up in here. Wally's on the thing, and Hawkman. And,
Oh
he-
my
he
god, I
just-
didn't notice that. But it
Superman,
does.
yeah, Superman just flies straight down there, takes Americommandos apart. Alan starts saving people. Wally starts saving people. Power Girl flies around with big tits some more. And then we get introduced to our first big legacy character that'll go on to do big things in comics. But we get introduced to Dick Grayson as the Red Robin, sneaking up the Statue of Liberty, knocking some bad guys out. They stop the fight. The people love them for it, and then they dip on them. And then where they go to next is a whole another arc. But this was a great battle sequence here with the old guard returning proper. We get the first sense of the Justice League get back. And Alex
That's
Ross.
right there, just as that, just like Revelations told us, all 7 of those angels came down.
Yes.
You know, and then there was an 8th at the altar, which was Dick Grayson.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's like all laid out there, and like it just Ross pulled. You know, he has said in the past that it's a lot of it is just coincidence. He just used he and Wade just pulled things that they thought were cool, but I think it's a lot deeper than he gives it credit on how they structured this with a lot of the biblical references. He obviously learned a lot from his dad to be able to fold a lot of this in here.
Can you
It's
guys
just
still hear me?
ingrained in you.
Do you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my speaker button died, so I just want to make sure.
You
Okay.
sound better.
Okay, cool.
I think it's because we can see your eyes better, though.
Okay, stop. We got to focus.
What
Don't
did
do the
everyone
eyes.
else think about this cool battle scene, the new characters? John touched on the symbolism there. The cast of the Justice League, how that stacks up. I mean,
I would
Thought-
think that when I first read it, the thought that I had was, okay, because some people might think that they went through the battle too fast as far as with the JLA coming in, but I believe that just speaks to how much more powerful the JLA is compared to who they're facing, because who they're
Yeah.
facing is just
Amateurs.
rookies that have no experience at anything, and they have some superpowers. So what? But they're not good at anything, and so they're just terrorizing people.
did anyone catch the respect that Alex Ross gave to the always buddy cop feeling of Green Lantern and the Flash, despite
Flash.
which one it is? John, I know you caught it. That grin
Yeah.
they give each other. They're
That little
they're loving
look. Yeah,
it. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely love it.
Right there.
And
Oh, in that panel when he's running by him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
right
Bob
before
Rob
Robin.
page. Alan smiling, saving people, and Wally comes
Other
by
page.
and gives him
Yep.
just like this little sequence of
Right there.
grin.
Yep. Absolutely perfect.
And can you show that the Robin right there as well? Yeah,
Where he
yeah. So
takes
that's
out that brain trust.
that's Dick Grayson in the Red Robin suit, which again, years later after this, you'll see the comic writers of the time update Dick Grayson to wear that costume and call him Red Robin. Not
Huh.
Dick Grayson, I'm sorry,
There you go.
Tim Drake to wear that
Tim
costume.
Drake.
Yeah.
So again, this is the source of all things evolution through DC Comics with so much stuff that's insane.
That's crazy.
They're like, we don't have to figure out a future for these characters. Alex Ross and Mark Waid did it for us already. What did they have to say about it? Let's see if we can pull from that. And more often than not, they do when they go to check.
It's great. And we learn. I'm not trying to skip too far ahead, but we do got to keep pushing.
Yeah, for sure.
We can't do deep dives on every page. There might be a little ulterior motive for having Dick Grayson with this group.
Yeah. I believe it's to try and
100%.
convince Batman.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah,
absolutely.
he's definitely. I mean,
they want
it's
Bruce.
interesting that Dick has made the choice to be in Superman's camp, so to speak, over Bruce's. But he's also, it's definitely, he's there for leverage, as a piece of leverage.
Yeah.
I think, and that's very interesting. Also, I mean, not for really any kind of connectivity other than I think he's trying to make sure everything is represented. But I love that he has the Ray in this Power 7, so to speak. The others, you can all see that kind of Justice League tie-in, but Ray Terrell, the second Ray, had a short tenure of any kind of relation to the Justice League. And the fact that they, especially at that point, so the fact that they added him as one of these Powerhouse 7 is really, to me, I love that because it's a favorite character of mine, but I thought that was really cool that they're touching on all the different teams, so to speak, or factions to come together.
And for Becker's sake, just to push it forward, right after that battle, they actually make a press conference and announce themselves that they're back and everything, and they're going to correct the shit. They're going to right the wrong. They don't necessarily say how or why, but they make their appearance known. And then we get a very one-panel tease of like the other powers that be that we haven't seen yet. And that's the table of suits sitting in a boardroom, and
The real power.
the real powers that be in
Power.
And then we move right
No, they're
along.
powerful.
They damn sure are. And then we move right after that, like quickly over to Superman. Now that he's back, it's time to go address the elephant in the room and go talk to
Bruce.
Bruce. This is actually heartbreaking. It's it's weird. It's tough.
Why do
seeing
you
these-
say it's heartbreaking? Because of Kevin Conn.
Fuck does Kevin Conroy have to do with this?
Didn't they dress him up as this?
Yeah, they butchered this story and they let him
I don't
act-
watch that show.
Yeah,
so
it was terrible. It was
It
absolutely
was
terrible.
bad. But
It was
the pictures I saw of it, they were definitely drawing from Kingdom Come.
Yeah, they put his frame on Kevin Conroy. They made him a bad guy for the sake of pushing Batwoman. I'm like, man, fuck out of here with this.
I did not know that.
They should
don't
have
watch
Kingdom
those
Come in the
shows.
Crisis thing. They brought Brandon Routh in as Kingdom Come Superman to swap him out for John Cryer Luthor within minutes. They bring in Kevin Conroy Batman as Kingdom Come Batman just to make him a senile bad guy for the sake of pushing Batwoman.
Did anyone
that
burn
Crisis.
the internet to the ground?
Yeah, that was trash.
But anyways, he goes and talks to Bruce, looking for common ground, blah, blah, blah. Bruce is like, no, man, I think you don't have it under control like you think you do. This plan of yours, I mean, what are you going to do anyways? You're just going to force them to be good, to follow you. I'm not coming out to help you. I got everything under control. My bots are doing work for me. This is my mission. I'm
My
doing my
city's
mission.
good.
My city's
Yeah.
good, and I'm not leaving it.
Like,
And
Which is very interesting because that was Clark's attitude at the beginning. I'm not leaving here. This is I'm fine right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, yeah, but
and-
also we might just be getting the answer Bruce wants people to think he's got.
Yeah. There's no way he's ignoring.
Bruce is always up
everything
to
else.
something.
no,
Yeah.
we learn
Right.
immediately that he is, because as soon he tells Clark that we're not limited to Gotham. We've built a network that extends from here all the way through Star City. He said, like me and allies, blah, blah, blah. Superman leaves, and immediately his network comes walking out of the shadows in the Batcave, consisting of Dinah, Ollie, Ted Cord.
Ollie's comment about I could feel his x-rays.
Yeah, he said he knew we were here. I could feel his x-rays. Hell, I'm probably sterile now.
Yeah.
Old ass man, bald, gray
Right.
mustache. I'm probably sterile now. Yeah, now.
You probably sterile beforehand.
So Durs, obviously, if you're not familiar, this is Green Arrow, Black Canary, and the Blue Beetle.
That was my next question.
Yeah. And we also get our first glimpse at a lot of characters that should look familiar. You get to see Batman's computer. You get to see Dr. Fate. How I think this is a great take. Like, they're always like, it's the helmet. You have to have a person. It's the helmet. No, you fucking don't. Because the helm is rocking on its own. Naboo unleashed just the helmet. No one in it. Helmet and cape.
I'm
Tired
not
of
even a
being held
DC guy,
back
and
by
that's
the
the
demons.
iconic look for me.
We also look at Hellcat. And this is also, if you look, Dr. Fate, Hellcat, and then you know what you get right under that? The first fucking appearance of Damian Wayne decades before it was ever drawn in comics or conceived. Alex Ross created Damian Wayne in this book right here. Dr. Fate, Wildcat, Damian Wayne, the daughter of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul. Right there. And he plays in the book even more after this. That's how much this book is important to modern DC.
Who's the She-Hulk lookalike?
That's Star Sapphire.
Okay.
That's Alan Scott's daughter, Jay.
Okay.
No,
Not Star
that's
Sapphire,
Jade.
Jay.
Hulk?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Star
He's just
Sapphire.
looking at a face of it, just a green skin with green hair. But
Yeah,
she has
well-
the white streak in it just to let us readers know that this is probably the Jade we know. Fast
Yeah,
forward.
that's her brother right above him. Right above
Okay.
him.
Obsidian. Yeah.
Okay.
They've just kind of given him a shadow look with that hat.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then the
Mark,
rest
after
are
this-
unrecognizable to me.
So moving forward into that, you start to see Superman and his allies start cleaning up the streets as it were.
Yeah, adding more to their ranks, skipping around, shutting people down, join our team or get shut down.
And
Right.
get put
Now-
in basically prison, superhero metahuman prison.
Yeah, they're getting to that, but this is where we see
They haven't built the
version-
prison yet.
No, we have not got the Gulag, but this is now where we officially get version 2 of Superman. We saw an unrecognizable version where he's just given up, doesn't care about humanity, has none of his values. Now we're back to version 2. We think he's back, but is he? Because now we have dictator Superman, God complex Superman,
Mhm.
forceful Superman,
I would call first Superman bitter Superman.
bitter
Bitter
Superman. Now we have bastard Superman.
bastard. You really go bastard with it? I don't
Definitely
don't,
a dictator Superman.
Like
Yeah.
a dictator. He had
Yeah.
his ego.
he's now back and he's like, all right, humanity,
So
you had
the-
your chance.
I wouldn't
Now
If
go.
I'm
he's
jumping
gonna
back
make
in and
ours.
doing this, I'm doing it my way,
Mhm.
and my word is what's going to be followed.
He's
I
Old
understand that, but I'm
Testament
not-
Superman.
But with a dictator, Superman still will not kill anyone.
What does that have to do with anything?
Okay,
Do
wait,
what
wait.
I say or go to the Gulag.
Mhm.
Alan, did you see anybody get a trial on the way to the Gulag?
Superman's
Is this
trial.
America?
Superman's trial. His judge. His decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if you notice, we also get the distinction here. We have Batman in his team that are not down for this method. And we have Wonder Woman in his goddamn ear, who's a fucking warrior. A warrior meant for a battlefield. Like, she's not like meant for
Yeah.
beyond that. She's not thinking outside or beyond that. And
Mm-mm.
that's his right hand. That's his voice of reason right now.
It's who's in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
And when Batman is your moral compass.
Yeah.
But but I see Wonder Woman as one that wants to move forward with war, and Superman wanting to pull back.
Yeah. He even tells her, Diana, take a breath. They're not evil. They're just misguided.
Wonder Woman's just wanting to be harsher than him. He's like, we don't have to go that far. We can just go lock him up illegally. How about that?
Yep.
That's it. He's saying, let's go lock him up illegally. Wonder Woman saying, let's fucking cut him down.
Have we
Yeah,
gotten
what's
to
the
the prison?
point? What's the point
The
of locking
location?
him up? It's
Not
like,
yet.
We got to get
Because
through the
they go
boardroom.
they go to Atlantis originally to put the prison underwater.
We're not. Yeah, we're not there.
We're
about
not there
to
yet.
the
We gotta get
gulag.
through the
got
boardroom.
I'm thinking about 2 scenes, and then they have the problem. All right, we get introduced to the boardroom in the next scene, and it starts with God, who was it? Vandal Savage snapping the receptionist's neck over 2 sugars. That's how it
Yes.
starts. And what we
Did
get
he
introduced
say
to,
2 sugars though?
he said 2 sugars. There,
I
Yeah,
said
I
two
said 2 sugars.
sugars.
Snaps her neck.
and then Lex walks in. The King of Hearts is like, you ham, and Lex walks in unfazed by it all.
that casual.
Yeah. So this is the Legion of Doom. This is the Legion of Doom outside of their
Mhm.
suits, just
Yeah.
sitting here in their old age. We see Catwoman's in there, Vandal Savage, the
Riddler.
King. You have
Riddler.
Damian Wayne sitting right next to the head of the table, right there. So he's on there as well. So that's Damian Wayne sitting there talking to Riddler and Catwoman, that bottom middle panel, and they're talking about what are we going to do? Superman's back. We need an ultimate plan, and they start scheming on their own ends. And Lex is like, "Of course, I got a plan, and I got a backup plan." And about this time, a mysterious figure comes walk in. You don't see his face. He's serving the tables and everything. You'd have no clue who he is, but you just know that he's marvelous.
He is marvelous.
And
Yeah,
Norman McKay sees him, says, "Who? The captain of lightning and thunder. Come, we have spent too much time wallowing in sin," says the Spectre. So now we know the Legion of Doom is scheming. So, of course, the good guys got to be scheming. You turn the page. Superman's going to like the biggest dump in the wall looking gathering place.
I love the artwork and color scheme on these 2 pages, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to talk about these? Superman's trying to recruit more good guys. Sturge, you want to talk about these pages? You see some familiar
Make him
faces.
big, Alan.
Yeah, you see some familiar faces, some unknowns. You got the Creeper in there. It looks like he's sitting next to the Human Bomb.
And the creeper got old.
You got Plastic Man getting twisted like a pretzel in the middle of the room. All kinds of weird stuff. Superman saying party's over, shutting it down, trying his whole rally cry. Like, y'all need to come to the thing or get shut down, blah, blah, blah. And they're all like piss off, basically. And yeah, he dips. Then Green Arrow makes his presence known. And we don't get to see it, but it's safe to assume Green Arrow pitches them a whole different tune. So there looks like now we're both. We have multiple people doing multiple. We have the boardroom. We have the Legion of Doom. We got Superman's band and we got Batman's band all trying to.
The Outsiders.
Yes. And this is where the Gulag talk comes up.
Yes, they go to the
Great. So I've seen this painting also.
this
page.
the Green Lantern's fortress in the sky.
Yeah, but I saw the original. I got to touch it, Mark.
I'm going to touch you so that I can like have touched it by
Yeah.
proxy.
Yeah.
That counts.
And this is basically Norman and the Spectre talking about what's going on. They're showing battle scenes, as you can see on the other side. And like Mark said, this is where they start to bring up the idea of the
We
prison.
got nowhere to put these people.
Yeah.
We're having to arrest more than we're getting in our ranks. This isn't working. We're going to force it to work. We need a gulag.
And then right at the bottom, go up a little bit. There's on that one page right there. It says where Superman's like, what do we do with the rest?
I have a suggestion. Follow me.
So they go to Aquaman down there and they say, can we basically put our crap down here? And he's like, no.
Can we litter the ocean?
Yeah, can we litter the ocean with these degenerates? And he is like, you always do that. No, you cannot. My cities are peaceful. I am good to go. You leave them up there on Earth and don't bring them down here.
Permission denied. That's
Denied.
what he says. Director. I love it.
And then that's when they start building the gulag.
Yeah, they do have an important talk. This is where like Superman it gets comfortable crossing the line. He's like, this doesn't feel right. Like this feels very fascist of me. And Diana is basically like, what else can we do? This is war. We have to do it. And she kind of uses her femme
Isn't
fatale on
I
them.
forgot.
Isn't this also where we learn Diana's no longer a ruler?
Yes, she tells Aquaman that that the
Aquaman
women of
wants to know.
Thumis
Themyscira.
Themyscira.
Themyscira have taken her crown, saying she is no longer worthy of it.
Yeah, she
And-
wasn't effective at bringing peace to the world. That was her mission.
Yeah, she had failed
Well,
her
she's
mission
not-
as an
she'll-
ambassador.
She'll definitely get it done with a prism
So
because we all know incarceration works.
And now we get this is a big deal. What happens next while they're here? A call comes in. Hey, excuse me. Y'all might want to know this. They're like, what? I was about to kiss. It's Magog.
found him.
Found him. He'd been out of sight, laying low. People didn't know where he was since the explosion in Kansas. That was the last time we seen him. And they come to him, and it looks like he's carrying a whole cabin on his shoulders, trying to set.
He wasn't
it down gently.
hiding.
No, he was just where you wouldn't expect him. And Superman shows up. What are you doing in Kansas, Magog? So apparently,
He's still in Kansas.
Heavy
Never
is
left.
the head that wears the golden horn crown.
Mm.
He never thought shit would get this real. The weight of 1 million dead bodies are weighing on him, and he has not left Kansas. He's sitting there to no avail trying to rebuild it. Just picking up trivial things that will never be useful again. It's pathetic. It's sad how broken this man is. And Superman's coming
And
in
he's
like,
stuck in Kansas.
yeah. And Superman's coming in, and they have a great conversation where Magog's blaming Superman, and Superman's blaming him. And they're kind of talking, and this is where we get the context of why Superman left. And you find out that the backstory goes, the Joker killed like upwards of 50-something people. He
100.
gaslit, upwards of 100,
100 people at the Daily Planet.
including Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane. And in that moment, Joker gets arrested. On his way to trial, Magog lands in, makes his big show, and he assassinates. He executes the Joker right there on the street while he's still in handcuffs, getting escorted. Superman comes in and takes in Magog for murdering this man. Murder's murder. Magog gets put on trial, and the people overwhelmingly side with Magog and his brand of justice. And that was the straw that broke Superman's back, was the fact that his whole livelihood, his best friends, his wife all died. And the correct thing to do was not to seek vengeance that way. Magog did. And everyone who he's been leading through a better way turned their back on him and said, we don't need you. We need this. They don't know what he lost. They have no clue what he lost on a personal level in there. And that had to be a huge, deep cut. And that's what sent him out.
I think that I do not see this. I mean, I don't know if this is off topic or not, but I don't see Magog getting acquitted if it's any other villain. Because the Joker is quite he's beyond just the regular
I
villain.
wouldn't even focus on that. I think what you should see is that humanity chose a different brand of hero. The market, if you would call it, the comic, because this is where we do start to see the commentary to this.
It gets meta as hell.
Yeah, it's meta as hell. Essentially, we the readers acquitted Magog. This is what we wanted when we chose extreme comic book characters.
When a shitty Venom movie can be as successful as it was, society has fucked up.
Well,
The
that
We're not
hadn't-
talking
that
about
hadn't
Venom, Mark.
happened yet.
I'm just saying the
We're not talking about Venom. Stop.
anti-heroes being so popular and Superman, he's too good. He's just a Boy Scout. That concept is coming into play. Everyone loves the Punisher. Everyone loves Venom. Everyone loves
Wolverine at the time.
these anti-heroes. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're cool as hell, but they're talking on that commentary of how the taste of the readers were switching to that Image Comics vigilante.
Spawn, Grifter, Youngblood, Wild.
I love the commentary stuff in comics. I always have.
Okay.
Excellent
they're-
point about
they're
Kingdom
saying-
Come, though.
they're saying the old school
from
stuff.
Scott here.
Yeah, and they're saying the old
He
school
came out of the
stuff.
chat. Somebody.
Yeah, they're trying to point out, like, this is what happens when you turn your back on those things. You get this kind of world. When you idolize and when you glorify these actions, these characters out of context, this is the end result. Play the tape out. This is what society will turn into without these morals and values as your foundation.
Think about who died. Superman had to watch the people he cared about most die, and he still showed restraint in taking the Joker in, only to have Magog kill him And then he took in Magog and
Yeah.
watched humanity say, nah, we're good. I mean, Superman, and this is why we have bitter Superman at the beginning, because Superman felt betrayed by humanity, felt cast aside. And you know, humanity kind of did that in the form of comic book readers. This was not leading into the 90s and the early 90s was not a super popular time for Superman. I said
No,
super
this-
too much, but
This the whole Joker scene with Magog and stuff, that was another big turning point for the book for me, kind of setting the stage of the world and the world that they're living in and how society was. So that was one of my another favorite part of the book right here.
Mhm. A justice done. And we do pop back to Magog and Superman having that conversation in Kansas, going back and forth, whatever. And finally, Superman looks over at Kansas and what Magog's created and said, "You must be proud." And that sets him off like he's not proud. And he lashes out and he hits Superman with that same beam that just killed the Joker in the flashback. And you get this great panel where it's just blowing past him and everything. And when you turn the page, he's still just standing there. And Magog just falls. Broken Man falls to his knees. And we get one of the most gorgeous panels in here. And not just because it has Jack Kirby Sandman at the top of it, but because when you look at Superman in the scorched earth, you see clean ground right behind his feet trailing down. I'm like, dude, the level of detail on that was just
Mhm.
it was
And
can
great.
at
you make him? Can you make him big again, Alan?
You can too.
I don't know how.
And this was
Oh,
the
okay, never
moment,
mind.
like when Magog
Sorry.
broke into. This whole time, they thought that this guy was leading the charge. That all these other heroes were looking up to him, and that's where like all this. Clark had been making association with Magog being his replacement in the world's burning, and he just found out that Magog ain't got shit to do with nothing. Magog's a broken.
And everybody
husky.
thought Magog, or that Superman was afraid of Magog, that Magog had driven him away. And we see that beneath it all, that Magog couldn't carry Superman's boots, man. He couldn't.
No,
No,
he
he
couldn't
couldn't carry
carry
the
his
burden.
shoulder pads.
He couldn't carry the burden that Superman has to carry.
No, he couldn't stand up to Superman for a second in a fight. And this is also where Superman has a realization: we're at war. Diana got her wish.
So where did they go?
No, they're still trying to find a good prison, so they go and visit. Who knows how to keep people locked inside their prison? Save one person. Who is it, Brother John?
Oh, it's Mr. Miracle.
Yeah, we're heading to
It's Scott
Apocalypse.
Free.
So he goes to Apocalypse to talk to who you assume is Darkseid at first from the first panel, but when he turns around, we see that it's none other than his son Orion. Yes, starting to really look like his dad as well. And Orion eventually gives him the big no, you can't bring your bullshit here.
Yeah, we don't need this.
This is Apocalypse. We're trying to really brighten it up.
We're trying to brighten it up. We're trying to fill it with, straight away.
We just got this new carpeting put in. No prison here.
You're the good guys.
Yeah, there was a great line. He says, if this is about emancipating a world from fear's tyrannical shackles, it isn't my help you need. Like, my dude, this is the wrong place for what you're going for.
And at that point, that's when they break away to back to Bruce Wayne. And Bruce Wayne is, where's he at? Who's he meeting with? And he ends up meeting with Lex Luthor and the Legion of Doom.
Mhm.
And
So
you're
we
like,
can-
what the in my mind just got a total, like, it was a total mind fuck. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I mean, is he really playing both sides, or is he straight up turning bad?
Mhm. Now,
Because his hatred for Superman.
now there's another awesome thing I want to point out. Y'all are all using the trade paperback, right?
Yeah.
No.
John,
No.
so you're on the back cover of issue 3 and on the 2-page spread for chapter 3 on the left-hand side, y'all see that Flash character right there?
Yes.
The girl in the yellow and red with the black jacket?
Yeah,
Where-
carrying that pipe.
No, right here on the turn the page. On the cover for the next
Oh,
issue.
okay. Yeah.
Now you know who that is, don't you?
Mhm.
That's the daughter of Wally West, who hasn't even been born yet in comics. but she is
So that
now
would be
in
Kid
comics.
Flash. wouldn't
Well,
it?
she has been born in comics.
In '96, she was there.
Oh, not yet. No,
No.
I thought you meant now.
No, now Irie's doing the damn thing. Her and her brother
Yeah,
both.
yeah.
But here's Wally's kid. Boom, right there. Another legacy character who Jeremy Adams is doing big things with, like these days. You know, another one of those characters that were first created here.
And you will continue to see writers bring in stuff from Kingdom Come. I don't think that's going to stop.
That's crazy.
anytime soon.
I never knew that characters were brought like that from the story. That's wild.
And
It's
yet
the
these
reference point for
issues, these issues remain super affordable.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Why?
I don't know. I got an near mint set at a flea market for less than $40. It was great. So
Yeah, if you don't own the original,
Ooh, that next page, Mark. Just saying.
So many first appearances.
Yeah, that next page. Now we're getting the
That's
opposite.
when this book went to like an 8 or a 9 for me.
John, you
in
want to touch on
chapter-
this next intro, this next little vision and touch into Revelation here?
You're talking about the start of book 3.
Yes, sir.
You talking about the very first page, which
Yes, sir.
Yes, that right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, each issue opens with the vision, the premonition getting stronger.
Mhm.
yeah, and the seven thunders he talks about, which we see
I mean,
right there.
I basically was guessing who it was right when I saw it, even though I didn't know, but I was pretty sure it was the guy that it is.
Yep.
And he cried with a loud voice. And how does he activate? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voice. And like, now
I
go,
love
man.
that
I need to
panel,
go back
that
and
page.
count. I need to go back and count something that happens at the end of this book. I wonder if it's
Yes.
7.
And then it goes to
Oh,
the
how
group.
many times he does it?
Which
It is.
not to get too deep, because this is that's my geek out stuff, is the religion part of it, because that's just what I studied. And it really stands out to me because like in the Torah, in the Jewish faith, they believed in the possibility of 2 messiahs, that there would be a Messiah ben Joseph who would have to die and sacrifice himself for the rise of Messiah ben David. So we're seeing here kind of these 2 Messiah figures being built up, and what's going to happen coming, kind of
There's
a little
levels
bit
to
of
this
that
shit.
prophecy being laid out, that as to what may come.
So basically, in the third book, they're showing the gulag, the inner workings inside and out of how it functions on the daily, basically how it keeps the metahumans inside that don't want to follow
And
Superman.
what's that building look like to you?
Yeah,
Mark?
right.
The Legion of Doom.
The good guys
Right.
built the Legion of Doom with apocalypse and technology, and they have Scott Free as the warden. Like,
Yeah.
Again,
They-
not
if
a
only they
DC
had a-
dude, but as soon as I saw that Legion of Doom,
yeah, and that's
If only
Mr.
they had a
Miracle
swamp for
who
it
they
to
have
rise up out
monitoring
of.
it. Mr. Miracle is the guy who's in charge of monitoring it, who's the only person to have ever escaped from Apocalypse. The son
Yeah.
of
So,
my father
Dirk,
who
you know who Mr. Miracle is?
yeah,
Okay.
that's him right there. Ironically, keeping people in.
I
Like,
just
when
didn't
you-
know if you would ever.
When you turn
encounter the
Scott
character.
Free into a jailer, like what other signs do you need that you done
The
fucked
God
up?
of Freedom.
Yeah, you the source of freedom. You went
Scott
wrong
Free.
somewhere.
Right.
Apparently not, because it's working.
Is it?
What was
For a
the
little bit.
pitch like? What was the pitch like to get Scott Free
Anyway,
to be a jailer?
so
To
it
make something
goes
nobody
through,
can escape from.
and it introduces all of these characters, and it took a second for me to realize what it was doing, and it was just going through, and even in different languages, which was kind of shocking to me, honestly. As American as America is, they always take everything and turn it into English.
Well,
Even
this is
as
the
wrong as
pompous
it is.
shit on the side of Superman. We do get a little tour through the jail via like narration, and we see that the takeaway from this is it's volatile, it cannot last, it's instantly overcrowded. You have this 3D hologram of Superman running on repeat, like some kind of conditioning, like y'all need to get right, get tight, and do better. And you got Adam Strange in there, like kind of guarding a little bit and stuff. But the whole point is just to show you how volatile it is and
Yes.
how far dictator Superman has gone to have illegally jailed these people in a super prison with alien technology, and he's preaching to them every day.
Yeah, like
So,
reconditioning them.
Yeah, this is that. Now that's dictatorship, right, Alan?
no,
I
still
prefer to think of it
don't
as-
believe it. No, that's
Governing with a
that's
firm
prison
hand.
reform. That's prison reform. That's what that is. Moving along.
Moving along. So yeah, this is well,
Can I-
we get, go ahead.
Can I ask something real quick? And the any of the annotations or anything, does that say that that's Adam Strange? Or note that that's who that is?
I don't think so.
That's
because-
clearly Adam Strange.
It looks exactly like Adam Strange to me, but all the notations I've seen say that that's Captain Comet.
Is it Captain Comet?
It is.
Yeah,
Number
And-
9.
but it strikes me odd
Yeah,
because it
Silver
looks
Age
so much
icon
like
and
Adam
one-time
Strange.
epitome of human perfection. Yeah, that's Captain Comet. It damn sure is. I've always assumed it's Adam Strange. I never even stopped to check the blog.
Yeah, I think a friend of mine pointed that out once.
And also, just for context, Sandman in this is formerly Sandy the Golden Boy.
Sandy Hawkins,
But yeah,
great
so then,
member of the JSA.
yeah, then you get a little clip of Luthor looking in at the Gulag through his spy technology, knowing that this is their play, the Gulag popping, the ensuing disaster that is the Gulag. It's a ticking time bomb, and they're waiting for it. That's what Luthor needs to make
He's
his play.
excited.
And then
Yeah.
then we turn the page to what was one of the biggest cosmic scale things I'd ever seen in comics, and that was my first introduction to the Quintessent. And
Yeah.
yeah, and for those that don't know what that is, think of the Illuminati at Marvel before the Illuminati and on a grander scale. Instead of Earth's representations of this and that, this is the DC multiverse universe representation. You have a Guardian of Oa, you have the High Father, the Wizard Shazam, the Phantom Stranger, the Spectre. Like, it doesn't get bigger than bigger at this. These are like the key players of the cosmos.
Would you compare them to like the Watcher in Marvel?
No, the Watcher would sit. If these guys are talking, the
Mhm.
Watcher would be watching. Like, if these guys ever decide to have a conversation, no matter what the Watcher was doing, he would be ripped away from it to go stare at these people.
Okay,
Because if they're
Okay.
convening, shit is hit the fan.
right.
Mhm.
Like, for
And
it something to affect all of these people and what they stand for and represent,
They
it's
kinda-
it's crisis level, like legit.
Before we get to the next panel, the next character they introduced seems familiar to me for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Which one?
The
From the
next
next
character,
page?
I didn't want to spoil things. This guy that we get.
Oh
into.
yeah.
Oh,
Right,
Dead
okay.
Man.
That's
Dead Man,
why.
right?
Dead Man.
There-
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, you've been watching the DC animated stuff recently, right?
Mhm.
So he's drawn in here as a skeleton for the first time in comics when normally he's
Okay.
drawn like this. But that's
Because
Preston. He's the
the-
guy that he's the dead guy that can just go inhabit other people's body. He was
Okay. Yep.
a
That
murdered
makes
trapeze
sense.
artist. And he just pops in and just has a casual conversation with Norman. No biggie. Just I think they just wanted to draw Dead Man, to be honest with you, and he looks cool as shit.
looks
Alex
great.
Ross was like, "What have I not done?"
Yeah,
yet?"
who haven't I drawn?
Yeah. Then we cut to a little conversation of Superman and Lois sitting outside of the Emerald Palace in space, just chopping it up about if they're doing the right thing or not, reminiscing on days gone by. And what I think is pretty cool about this, it's actually a really telling panel from their mindset, because you see Superman grab a little rock and skip it over meteors, right? It hits like 4 or 5 meteors and keeps going. You turn the page, you see Wonder Woman do the exact same thing, and she just throws it and blows. So you get an idea of their temperaments, of their mindset, of what they care. Superman still has that soft touch in there. Wonder Woman does not. And Superman even takes her lasso from her and throws it around those meteors and pulls it back because he still has that heart inside to want to fix things. He doesn't want to destroy things. He doesn't want to hurt things. And his number one is just, fuck it. Oh, fuck it. So that's super telling. Then the little details there.
She keeps trying to ruin Superman.
And he tells her only the weak succumb to brutality.
Mhm.
But 10 minutes ago, he was addressing the prison he created.
Yeah, he thinks that he hasn't gone too far because he hasn't done what Alan said. He
Right.
doesn't realize he's already past the point of too far. You're never going to win the world over with force, not in the scale that he needs. He's trying to change the mindset of an entire people's. You can't do that with force. You just make them resentful.
Yeah, if only he knew that Image Comics would have torn itself apart anyway.
Yeah. So now we turn the page and we see Lex Luthor doing a little bit of programming and conditioning to this mysterious, marvelous character right here, showing him his own death, showing him how bad superheroes are, all kinds of things. And then we also no, we don't quite get it yet. Yeah, we get the big reveal with this. We see that he's using Mr. Mime, putting them in his ear, which is a Captain Marvel. People these days know him by Shazam, but during this book, it was back when he still had his actual name.
That always
So-
confused me back in some of the older books between Mr. Marvel and Shazam.
Yeah, his name's Captain Marvel, but there's
Captain
a
Marvel,
little,
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, don't demote him to Mister.
Sorry, yeah.
He dicked
was my
around with the
fault. But
rights
yeah,
on the
back in the day
character.
when they were talking about it would always kind of confuse me sometimes.
yeah. Just know that that's Captain Marvel. That's why he's never been renamed, because it hasn't been too many years since DC lost the name rights on him. But yeah, they dicked around and messed up on that. And they also didn't really want to use it anymore because of how household both Marvel and DC became. It just seems
Mhm.
like people would just scratch their head at an
Right.
introduction level. Like, what do you mean Captain Marvel? This doesn't even make sense. This is DC.
Right.
Why isn't it called Captain DC? But people. So you see Luthor, Bruce Wayne talking. Batman's building a bigger army and talking with Luthor, and they're conniving together.
Yes. Working it out. And then somehow, some way, it turns.
Yeah. So basically, Lex reveals his plan. Lex tells him, "We're just waiting on the gulag to pop, and then we'll go from there." And Bruce is like, "Yeah, thanks. That's all I really needed to know. I've been sticking by close to figure out what the fuck you were up to, because you're Lex Luthor, and no shit, you're up to something. That's all I
Right.
needed to know." You see that Bruce has actually amassed a pretty decent army now. We get to see who's behind him and everything. And he
Yes.
pretty much dips Audi 5000. And we see who he had an inside man as well, which this is heartbreaking. John, you want to touch on his inside man?
You're talking about Bruce's inside man?
Yeah, the Martian Manhunter.
Oh yeah, who is just a shell of himself. Unfortunately, it's heart. This is heartbreaking for me because I love that character so much, and it's interesting that we don't, other than this portion, we don't see him.
Mm-mm.
We don't know what happens with him, so to speak. But he's been kind of Bruce's undercover man, but he has zero confidence. He's a shell of what he used to be. And he can't turn off, he can hear people's thoughts and all that, and he can't turn it off anymore. So he's just been inundated with not just Luthor and his cronies, but everybody's thoughts just pushing into his head and trying to manage that and decipher that. And he's still not sure if he was able to do what Bruce needed him to do, but he did.
And
He
this
just
was
doesn't
heartbreaking
realize.
in the sense that the Spectre reveals what shattered him was he opened his mind to the entire world because he was longing to truly understand humans, and in opening himself to that toxin, that poison of the entire world as a whole in this time, it fractured him mentally. And he's a quivering, sad version of himself, like John said, but he still wants to help Bruce. And what Bruce tells him is heartbreaking, knowing your DC history. He says, "John, you fought the good fight longer than any of us. You've done all that's ever been asked of you, and today was no exception." Martian Manhunter is the longest standing member of the Justice League. He was there in day one, and he wrote it out when no one else was there, and he was bringing in new members that would just end up dying around him, and he kept going and going and going. He was the most faithful and true member of that team. He is the heart and soul of the Justice League, and he's still
It is
trying.
Martian Manhunter's team.
Mhm.
Martian
Think
Manhunter,
about it.
he's Marvel Comics in this, right? He opened himself up to everybody, and they were so toxic, and then they left, and they left him a shell and went and made their own company.
Yeah,
And so
I
As
see
we
what
move-
you did there, John.
That was pretty good.
I need to get a drink. 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
And then as we move from unveiling of Martian Manhunter, we go to basically discussion / party or get together, I guess, of Superman's team, where they're talking about what areas are clear around the world and how the gulag is. And while everybody knows, I think everybody knows that it's on the brink of just total destruction. They just don't want to admit it. And they're going, and this is also where the Flash just goes and just grabs Herman. And
I just went from 6 to midnight.
So
Actually, no, that's not that moment.
Norman has been in
Great
the
moment.
shadows with Spectre, just monitoring all of this, and all of a sudden, Flash just says, "Get over here!"
Yeah, he
and
breaks
pulls him
like
straight
into-
in, and everybody's like, "Who the hell is this old guy?"
But how great was that panel beforehand when they're just talking about, you see Wally over here looking at you, the reader.
Yes,
Like he's leaning back, dipping his head back. He's like, wait, who the fuck is that? Looking at us, the
What's going on
reader.
over there.
Then we turn the page to him yoking Norman out of the astral plane.
Yes,
The fuck?
Oh, that's where we're at.
and
Now we're in the story, guys.
That's my
We've been-
dude. I loved it. Loved
We,
it.
the reader, has
Love that.
been ripped into the story.
And also
he-
now, real quick, I can't help but do this when we get to it. Top right, page top right. On the balcony, you see the robotic character that's red and yellow with the red
Mhm.
cape. That's like a robotic version of Ma Hunkel, the Golden Age Red Tornado. Do you see the girl next to her with the red hair standing straight up?
Yep.
That's the first appearance of Cyclone, who wouldn't be invented until 2007 by Jeff Johns when he came back to Kingdom
wild.
Come to get her.
Buy
She just
these
appeared.
comics.
She just appeared on the silver screen in Black Adam this past
How
year.
are these comics not like expensive?
They're
Because
Because people don't know this
chock-full of
shit.
first
Now, if you look at that
appearances.
same page, that's the first appearance of Atom Smasher in Atom Smasher form, which will later get folded into the story as well. Now, he appeared as Nuklon in comics and all the way back in All Star
But
Squadron.
this is his first as Adams.
Adam
It looks like a
Smasher.
male and female Peacemaker up there too.
That's the Bullet.
Oh, okay.
Bullet Man and Bullet Woman.
Okay.
Now, if you look next to Alan Scott, there's Jack Kirby's Atlas from first issue special.
In the corner.
Yeah, with he looks like a god with a tunic and a cloak
Mhm.
over his head. Yeah.
Yeah, these are criminally undervalued books.
Now, who do you think this is right here?
I don't know what the print run was, but you would
The
think
Dr. Manhattan.
Becker, who do you think that is? That all black figure with stars for skin.
Oh. I
Oh.
think Dr. Manhattan.
It's motherfucking Starman
It's
from
Starman.
Johns'
Oh.
run.
yeah.
yeah.
It's all right here.
From the Legion
Johns
of
went to this
Superheroes.
page and
and
said,
then
let's
came
do
into
a
the
Justice
Justice
Society.
Society.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
It's not
ironically-
Jack Knight though.
No, this is the
No.
crazy one. This
It's
is
Tom Caller from the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's shot all the
We
way
gotta-
out, man.
we
He
gotta-
was
we
awesome.
gotta rein it in.
And then the cyborg there, who's all the golden cyborg in workout gear, always trips me out.
Who is that one?
Right where you have Starman,
I
you have
thought you were trying
Starman,
to
and
say
then
it was Jack.
Power Man, and then Cyborg.
Do we know what character that one is?
Go back in on it.
Robot Man 3, Victor Stone, formerly Cyborg, now organism made of liquid metal. Yeah, Cyborg. Yeah.
And they,
So Terminator side.
they did that to
Cyborg.
him for a little bit in one of the Titans runs, that he became all
Mhm.
liquid metal and was that golden.
Yeah, somebody watched Terminator 2 and they were like, I got an idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good one.
Hold my beer. That's when they
Is
move
there-
on to, they're discussing it, and then they move on to talking with Norman, and Norman's explaining why he's there, why he's watching, what's going to happen, and everything all together. And at that point, Red Robin, Dick Grayson, is like, uh-oh.
The gulag has gone berserk. It popped. There it went. The time bomb.
I was
went off.
wondering where this guy was right here.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, it's Paul.
What I missed?
A lot.
Okay.
Here, we'll start
Yeah.
over. Let's just start over. Let's go back to the beginning.
All right.
Book one.
All right,
we
it
opened
starts
on book
out
one.
with visions of an eagle and a bat.
I'm gonna kick you off, Mark. Stop.
All right, so the
Go to
gulag
bed.
top now. Superman and Wonder Woman are rushing the conversation about what is the appropriate or acceptable level of force. Wonder Woman's telling him, if they do not submit to us when I get there, I'm fucking killing them. I am not playing this game. Clark's like, you can't do that. We can do this. We can force them back into these prisons without a trial. No, we're going to kill them if they don't get in their rooms and play
Oh,
nice.
this is during the prison riot.
Yes.
Yeah, no, when
Yes.
it just popped, they're about to be leaving to go address it, and Superman and Wonder
Yep.
Woman came to a head, and they decided they'll do it their own way, and they leave together with two separate goals in mind. And then this is a huge Easter egg, by the way. It cuts to the boardroom. Wonder Woman and Superman try to
UN.
go talk to the UN members, and who's the head of the table at the UN? Becker, do you remember his name?
Ugly.
What?
Secretary General who leads the boardroom. Do you remember his last name?
Is it Luther?
Wormwood.
Wormwood.
Oh, Wormwood. Oh. I thought we were back in the boardroom. I'm gonna be honest. I've been having an issue with my ear piece. I'm getting about one of every 5 words out of at
Yeah,
times.
Superman and Wonder Woman they go back and talk to the actual humans that are leading the world, and their initial reaction is,
Oh yeah.
now-"
So this is okay. This is where they address the UN. I got you.
yeah, and they address Secretary Director Wormwood, who's leading the council, which is and then their response to Superman and Wonder Woman was like, oh, now you come talk to us? You built a giant prison in the middle of a nuclear wasteland and set up a meta-human time bomb in it. The fuck you showing up now for? We're
I love
past
that
this.
interaction.
We're not just depending on y'all. Y'all are the problem. They're not.
Yes.
They're not separating what Superman's doing from what everyone else has been doing. There's no communication. There's no relationship anymore. Y'all are just running a fucking muck. You think you're gods on this world. We're supposed to be living together. We're going to help ourselves.
And then it goes to Batman talking with Lex in the Legion of Doom's boardroom and Lex is basically like, it's all come to fruition. The plan is set. We are good to go. And that's when he turns to the buffoon of a butler, is what I like to refer to him as right now, because that's what he act like. All open to, everything.
The
that's
only
going
thing
on.
that could go wrong is if anybody distracts Bruce.
Yeah. And so at that point, Lex is telling him, hey, you got to do this. And he's saying, no, but we talked about this. I can't. And then Bruce gets in, and this is where their relationship basically falls apart when Bruce starts fighting everyone.
Yeah, so he figures out real quick who the help is that Lex was about to activate, and he cold cocks him in the jaw and puts a foot on his throat so he can't talk. He says, hey there, Billy. And he done figured out that Captain Marvel's the ace in the hole, and he doesn't want to.
He was calling him the wild card, actually.
Yeah, the wild card. Yeah, so Bruce drops the Legion of Doom. His little band wraps him up pretty tight, but he does get distracted, and Captain Marvel runs off. He ends up, long story short, getting the words out. When Bruce is trying to track him down to calm him down, he is a broken husk of a version that Lex has just destroyed him mentally, but he does get the word out. Shazam, boom, he's gone. Bruce is like, oh shit, take me to my cave now. So now everyone's on the way to the gulag. You got Lex's contingency is on the way. Wonder Woman's on the way, ready for war, getting suited up. Superman trying to talk to her a little sense, like, why would you bring a god killer sword to try to stop a conflict? You got Bruce and his berry band of men and women getting ready to suit up. It's all going to
outsiders.
Shit. The outsiders. It's all going to shit. Everyone's saying they're hell yes, let's go. And Superman's going to try to beat him to it. He wants to get there first so this shit doesn't get worse. He's starting to feel this shit has gotten out of hand, even for what I was doing. He did not break and go down Wonder Woman's path. It actually caused him to back up a little bit. So he chooses to bolt the fuck out of there faster than a speeding bullet through the side of Alan's beautiful space city. No respect. There's doors there, clearly. But he breaks through the side, hauling ass, and before he does,
Did
he
you
goes
just say there's doors?
Yeah, and he just breaks his beautiful city. And he goes into the Batcave to touch base with Batman first. Like, you knew this was happening. Why didn't you help me? Why didn't you do something? He's like, man, fuck you. Like, they're still not really getting along at this point.
I like
then-
the kiss scene that you didn't touch on enough. I feel like he
Let's
said
talk
it is a
about
kiss
kissing.
completely devoid of passion is a final farewell when they did.
Yes.
Yeah. There's some heated arguments, some passion moments. I love the panel right after that. Superman has never felt more alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would just
Because
there's
no
no
one
dialogue
wants to
at
do
all.
it.
It's just panels.
No, one before that, the last panel of the page before that, after the kiss.
Yep. Oh, how they all got their backs turned to him.
They're all just walking off with Wonder Woman.
Yep.
So Bruce ain't really rocking with Superman. He's trying his damnedest. Wonder Woman shows up at the gulag, demanding from the outside, even like abandon your activities and surrender or face the consequences. Superman's trying to get Superman's trying to get Bruce on game with him. And he's like, no, Captain Marvel's on the field. That's the one thing you were hoping didn't happen. Marvel's headed for the gulag now. He's going to break it wide open onto the Justice League. What do you expect me to do against? And he looks behind him. Superman's going. As soon as he heard that Captain Marvel was on the way, he knew, oh shit. Because no matter how many
Look
people,
at his face. Go to his face where he says Marvel. His face is just befuddlement and like,
yeah, he's scared.
He's scared.
He
knows
He's
what's
like, what the
coming.
fuck?
Yeah. So people see Shazam these days, and you don't really understand this character because he's not done properly anymore. But Captain Marvel,
How are his
and
powers
Christopher-
based, Mark?
magic, Mr. Beckerman,
Oh, what are some of the limitations of Superman?
Kryptonite.
Magic.
magic.
Wow, that's it.
So that's why when people are like, why would you make Superman fight Black Adam? Because Black Adam's a bad guy who can throw fists with him. Well, now we have Captain Marvel, who's broken and brainwashed, who can beat the shit out of Superman too. And some of the most, man, you can feel the speed in these next panels.
Yes. The 2 panels down is just crazy how fast that
You can
panel's
see how he's
going.
going faster and faster. You feel him picking up speed. You see a bolt of lightning over the gulag. You see Wonder Woman turn and look. You're not knowing who's going to get there first, and the lightning nails the gulag. Everyone's looking up. Superman's coming in fast. He has it in sight. Wonder Woman spear back, running into the battle. Superman's coming in determined, and there it goes. The streak
And
of red and gold
He
knocks
gets
his ass out
smacked.
of the sky. He didn't make it in time. And then the big panel splash that it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong.
Oh.
Look at that art. The way that he calls Captain Marvel is straight out of the Golden Age. Like the
Armageddon has
eyebrows,
arrived.
the hair. Yeah, Armageddon has arrived.
Otto
We're here.
Bender wishes he could have drawn this.
Thoughts on the big build up to the pop, guys? Thoughts on the race to
Well,
the
I saw it coming. I saw the foreshadowing because that big red picture in the very beginning of the 3. I was like, "That's Shazam. What I know as Shazam. That's Shazam." And I
He's
was
on the
like,
cover
"He's
for
coming."
me, so I know
And
he's
then
in the book.
And then I looked at it and I was like, "Wait a second, the damn butler! It's the butler!"
The
And
butler did it.
halfway through the issue, I was like, "Oh man, that's gonna
in
be
the
a twist."
gulag with the lightning bolt.
What's that?
I said the butler did it in the gulag with the lightning bolt.
Yes, that's what happened.
So, random question for some DC knowledge, real quick. You said Black Adam because he has the Shazam powers, but then there's Shazam. Does that power just people inherit that? Correct?
No.
No, or is it passed down?
Did you see the Black Adam movie?
Shazam!
Yeah,
You saw the movie.
yeah.
It shows in there how that power is
It's-
given out.
Right. It's like passed down.
The wizard bestows
can.
the power of Shazam onto you.
Right.
And,
So can
Fast
so can
forward
there?
through the years, you can share your power with others. It's not like it's passed down. Like Captain Marvel shares it with the Marvel family. Black Adam has had times where he shared it with Isis and Osiris and stuff, but they have 2 separate powers bestowed on them. It's the same powers, but the wizard gave it to Black Adam thousands of years ago, who he corrupted himself with powers, too much power, blah, blah, blah. Years later,
We didn't.
Black Adam wasn't around. The wizard got rid of Black Adam. He sent him to the farthest ends of the universe because he couldn't get rid of him. He couldn't unbestow the power, or he would. He gives it to Billy Batson. So
Okay.
it's bestowed on you by the wizard. is how
Has
you-
Black Adam and Shazam ever existed at the same time?
Oh shit, yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Black Adam
see,
was
I-
the creator of Marvel Family issue #1. When he was cast across the galaxy, he was flying back to Earth the whole time. He spent 10,000 years trying to get home, and he finally
Right.
did. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now we're into book 4, the final book, where it is awesome because that opening scene, you see the vision that was had.
The cover, it came to fruition.
Mm-hmm. And everyone is kung fu fighting.
All right, I'm
Gorgeous
back.
panels,
Sorry, I lost
massive
all
page
sound.
splashes.
It's all right.
Yeah, there you go. Gorgeous panels, massive page splashes. This issue is going to go a lot faster. You just have fighting. You have a lot of great
A lot of
panels.
fighting.
You get the Spectre and Norman.
Oh,
like,
good. I didn't miss the Shazam part.
And you get this is great panel where you see the Spectre and like this, his irises are skulls. Like this is it. This is the end. And we're wondering how this can all play out. And you finally get Superman and Shazam locking up, and Superman's just getting drugged by him. Let's be real here. Like
Oh, he gets his
feels,
ass beat.
yeah, he
Mhm.
feels these hits.
Destroyed.
It's Captain Marvel. He feels these hits. And then we turn to the solution. Like these have been the bad guys, not directly, but
Yeah,
these
we're
people-
back to the UN.
The
we're back
UN,
to
yeah.
we're back to the UN where we see that they've called in the Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks are gonna drop bombs.
They have meta superhero killing level nukes of their own. That they're looking at this ultimate problem. These people are going to crack the world. They're going to kill us all. So Deputy Director Wormwood there makes the call to rain down nuclear holocaust via the Blackhawks, and they have no other option. So that's what they set into motion, and he regrets it. And ironically, when he sits down to reminisce on what he's done, there's a mug that says "World's Greatest Dad" sitting on his desk. So you know
Yes,
what he's
that's
fighting
funny,
for.
yeah.
It puts context. You know what he's fighting for. He's fighting for the future of his
Mhm.
children, if they are even still alive in this world. So he's not a monster. He's just trying to save people, just like everyone else is. Cut to a reoccurring New Era character that has been the source of some problems and little stuff. He's been pointed out. His name's Von Bach. He's a big dude with the Iron Cross on his chest. He's obviously one of the tougher Jokers in this generation. And he's got Alex Ross with boobs by the throat. Norman turns around and looks, and we get another biblical moment here where Batman and his whole crew
Your
roll in.
savior is here.
Yeah, backup has arrived. Durs, Alan, what were y'all feeling in this moment?
Yeah, I thought it was a little dumb. Because at this point, Bruce Wayne, and they showed it. Bruce Wayne's old. You could see even just without the bat suit and anything, he has to have mechanical features to help him even stand and or function because he's so beaten from all those years of crime fighting and everything he's done. I think it's a little dumb that he is actually at the center point of this scene.
I can understand why Batman was there, but my thought from this scene instantly reminded me of like some movies I've seen and stuff, where a bunch of like B and C rate heroes and other people come in and they come to save the day. But I anticipated all these heroes just absolutely getting shredded, just getting absolutely destroyed, murked. Batman surviving. But I don't know if Shazam or somebody else was just going to absolutely wipe the floor with this.
That's another thing. How would Batman survive? But he always would. But yeah,
Right.
I get your point because he always would. But how? He has no.
Recently
He's not a
Batman
metahuman.
fell from space with just his suit and landed on Earth and survived.
Yeah, with his underwear over his face. So the man's
Mhm.
more durable than we give him credit for.
Right.
We've seen a lot of lower level heroes and characters running around doing just fine in this world. It's not about necessarily your power set. It's not like he expects to survive a nuclear explosion if it happens. He's there to try to stop it.
Right.
You have
He's
weaker
making the
people there
effort.
than Batman.
You know,
He's-
that's all that matters.
what I've took from this is Batman won't quit. Batman will
Right.
not stop. Like at this point, everything is in jeopardy. And John, you're muted, but I want to hear your thoughts on this as well as this one panel splash. You're our character expertise here. The character in the top right in the metallic Batman suit. This was telling about why Batman's here.
Yeah, the top right. That's Steel.
Yes.
Yes, and he's
Switch
now.
alliances.
Yeah, he's switched alliances. He's now taken the Batman logo and and is in with him. And what I think is really interesting about this panel is kind of the smirk that Batman has on his face. And it just says a lot, or it can take you in a lot of directions. He knew all along what was going to play out. He knew he's Batman. He has a contingency for everything, and they can't do it without him. And that's his attitude coming in. That's why he's there. As old as he is and as decrepit as he is, he's in that suit. He's there because they can't.
He never
do it without
left them.
Yeah,
He
can't do it
never
without
left.
You got to
He wanted them to think that.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause
And
even
I
Batman
absolutely
doesn't trust
love
his
that he
own.
has that look. It's just like, yeah, let's do this.
Now,
No,
how did
they
they
like
get
Dr.
there?
Fate at the top.
Yes, I was about to say. Now, how did they get there? Motherfucking Naboo. You have
Yep.
Naboo on your back, the guy who judges what's happening against all of history in the cosmos, and
Just
you have
opens
him on
the
your
cape
back.
and they all come out.
Yeah,
And
they're
do
all
you know
coming
why,
out.
Mark?
Yeah.
Because Bruce Wayne has the best Rolodex.
He does.
Without a doubt.
And also
And then-
another cool thing on this page, we also have the daughter of Dick Grayson and Starfire,
Nightstar.
Oh, yeah.
right above Bruce's smirk, which he's appeared before. But there's a decent shot over there.
hmm Right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that little Teen Titans romance blossomed. So moving right along, they hit the scene. They start fighting. They get in the midst of everything. Von Bach is about to drop a big robotic arm on somebody. And this is the moment that we've all been
This is the
Crimson.
best moment.
to hope it doesn't happen. In all
No,
this
this-
fighting, there hasn't been death yet. If Von Bach kills someone, that's it. We're trying to stop death from happening. These people fight each other all the time, but people still aren't dying. It's all the innocents around them. Wonder Woman says the hell with it and puts a blade straight through this Joker's heart.
Loved it.
It's
Everyone
amazing.
saw it. Everyone. And they're all coming at Wonder Woman. Batman's trying to give her back up. He's kind of chastising her about it in the process, and she ain't taking no shit. Switch has been flipped, and she goes at Batman and starts taking him apart, and they take to the skies.
And that's when they realize, oh shit, we have to fight something
The
that's
bombs.
The
a
Black
bomb.
Hawks.
We have to fight some bombs.
The bombs.
The bombs. The bombs.
So yeah, they see 3 Black Hawk fighters coming in, all armed to the teeth with bombs, and they have that oh shit moment. We cut back to Superman nailing Captain Marvel with some heat vision. You can feel him straining and pushing as he's walking it in on him, and Shazam ain't taking no shit. This is a great panel.
Shazam!
He says
Still owning
Shazam, and in the
Superman.
very next panel, he's moving fast as Hermes, like with the speed of Mercury. He says Shazam and moves out of the way so that Superman gets hit with it. Counting them, Becker?
Yep.
And then he stands over Superman, who's steaming in pain, and says it again.
Love it.
And
Love
then
it.
he says it again. And then we see all the battlefield, everything's still raging. And then he says it again.
For the 4th time.
And then we cut back to Superman, to Batman and Wonder Woman, seeing these ships coming in, agreeing to stop fighting. We have to shut them down. Batman gets one, Wonder Woman gets one. The 3rd ship lets its payload go, and we get to the ground. And Superman saying enough. And Captain Marvel smiles, looks down at him at Superman with blood coming out of his ears and his eyes, and he says Shazam. So we're gonna go one over with it. But that would have been dope if it was 7. Superman catches his mouth, sticks him in Billy Batson form, and fingers that can fuse coal into diamond crawl across human bone, and in the hush ears that can hear a cell divide, pick out the chilling ease, the scream of human rage. A wave of X-rays confirms the bomb's potency. A telescopic glance calculates the seconds before impact. He must act now. So he sees the bomb. He caught Billy's mouth.
And he's
You have
always
a-
able to stop it.
He tries right off grip. He hits it with heat vision. It doesn't stop. You have the war raging. This is
Right
where
on.
this is where the Spectre and Norman have their back and forth about this is it. It's been your
We
soul.
are at the moment of judgment.
This is the moment of judgment. You
Yeah.
have to decide. this was a really powerful moment too, because it makes us, the reader, stop and think, who the fuck is the guilty party in all this? What
Is
y'all
it
think of
us?
this moment?
Is it us?
Yes.
You could make arguments.
For any of it?
Yeah,
Right.
You could
Agreed.
literally be the lawyer for any party and determine that they were the one that did it.
But then
Norman's realization is, how can I judge? There's no evil here. It's tragedy.
Mhm.
And Superman determines that he is able to stop this, but it's going to cost him his life.
Yeah, Superman looks at Billy and says, I don't know what to do. You can see that, can't you? Every choice I've made so far has brought us here. Has been wrong.
So Superman's
listen to me,
ultimately
Billy.
taking he's heroic again. He's taking all the blame. We're trying to figure out who the guilty party is, and he's saying it's me. I
Lay
did
it on me.
Bring it all on me, and
Yeah,
I'm
so
the
he-
one who has to stop this and sacrifice.
He says, so listen to me, Billy. Listen harder than you've ever listened before. Look around us. Look what we've come to. There's a bomb falling. Either it kills us or we run rampant across the globe. I can still stop the bomb, Bill. That much I'm sure of. What I don't know is whether I should be allowed to. And that decision,
Rests
I'm
on
not
you,
a man. But you, Billy, you're both.
because you're both a man and a god.
Yeah, more
love
than
that
anyone
quote.
who ever existed. You know what it's like to live in both worlds. Only you can weigh their options equally. Fight the brainwashing, Billy. You can let me go, or with a word, you can stop me. But you understand the choice that can be made by you alone. Then decide. And Superman pulls his hand away. The tear comes from Billy's eye. He says, decide for the world. And he flies off to sacrifice himself to stop the bomb. And then we get, God damn goosebumps. Then we get the narration bubble recapping from issues ago.
Seven
When he-
thunders utter their voices.
And when he cries, and you see Billy's face, and it zooms in on his mouth, and he whispers, Shazam.
Damn.
Bolt of lightning passes Superman. Seven thunders utter their voices. He comes flying up, fierce as he's been in this whole
So
fight.
that's 6, right?
that
If
would
you
be
count
four.
that, yeah.
And then he
And
grabs
then
Superman
just
by the
wait.
ankle.
Once back in the boardroom,
Well, then he grabs Superman by the ankle, and instead of fighting him, he throws him down. And Superman looks up, and Billy hauls ass, grabs the bomb, just squeezes it with both hands. Everybody stops fighting, looks up at him, and he just screams, Shazam, 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 and creates a whirlwind of lightning and rains down hell and blows the bomb before it could hit the ground.
Yep.
so we got 10 total.
Yes.
Now, this is the part that's heartbreaking.
The next page, though.
So you just see just ash, dust,
Everywhere.
Norman with his head down, the Spectre just standing there. Norman realizes they're unfazed. The bomb was too close to not have dire effects. It decimated the battlefield. It absolutely decimated it. And Norman stands up and looks at the Spectre, and he just points at a figure on his hands and knees and says, Judgment. And Superman is now, I know, right? And Superman's laying there, and he just sits up and just lets out this guttural yell. There is no words on this panel, and you can hear it in your soul.
Yeah.
And then we get the scene of what's around Superman, which our boy Ted Core didn't make it because he's front and center. So everybody lost big on this one. Everybody. And Superman composes himself, if that's what you want to call it, stands up, furious, eyes glowing red. Of course, he just lost everybody. He's unaware that Alan Scott managed to save everyone in his closest proximity, which you see down in that bottom panel.
Yes.
But Superman is going to the people that he blames. He doesn't know these people survived. He thinks he's the only one left. And he goes to the UN, and he's starting to tear the building down with his bare hands. Superman's lost it. He's lost all of his humanity. He's lost all of his hope, all of his faith, everything he's ever believed in. He lost it in that explosion.
And he's mad.
Once again, he's lost it.
He's mad.
And he's starting to blame society to lash out at him. And it's Norman who now comes to him. Norman, who we followed this whole time, who saw this from more perspectives than anyone else in this story. And it's Norman who talks him down. You blame yourself for Captain Marvel, for Magog in Kansas, for 10 years that ended today. Yes, you're angry, but in that anger, you're forgetting once more what humans feel. They feel fear. And he looks down at the people in this room. He said, they won't forgive you for this, Clark. Forgive yourself. Clark has been dealing with the guilt of losing Lois, Jimmy, Perry, the office, for turning his back on humanity, losing their trust, losing the trust of his friends, making the decisions that brought them to this point instead of being that beacon of hope, leading by example the whole time. He finally realized that being anything other than who he's always been will not fucking work. It won't work. And it took Norman in that little moment to pull him back. And in that brief moment that he paused from this revenge, his team starts rolling in. The survivors, not just his team, but survivors from all the teams. They start rolling in, and he sees hope in that moment.
I love the little how Flash is drawn in this panel.
Yeah, he lost his helmet along the way.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
I think
Also a little bit.
very interesting too to me, and a nice touch that when Norman's talking to him and he tells him that if he wants redemption, he has to make the choice as a man, make the decision as a man.
A man.
And he addresses him as Clark. For the first time in the whole thing, he says Clark, not super, doesn't address him as Superman or speak of him as Superman. And it's like, how did he know? Or, where in the previous issues was that ever revealed to him?
Yeah, it was never
somehow,
it was never shown, but
right. But somehow
he's the
he
reader. He's
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's also a great point you made, John, because just a few pages earlier, he left the decision to Billy because Billy was the only one that lived in these two worlds. He didn't see himself as part of the world anymore.
Right, exactly. And Norman was like, you are that man.
Very, very awesome detail there. So now it's just them pumping the brakes, realizing
Let's
what's
get the
going on.
hell out of the UN.
They took
Rebuilding.
Captain Marvel's flag and they hung it outside the UN to show the sacrifice that he made that day. And this event was a big enough shock. It was a big enough wake-up call to everybody to say, oh, shit. Enough of them are gone. It was too surreal. They've all pumped the brakes. Batman set up hospitals all over the place. He's got Lex Luthor working for him. Themyscira recognizes Wonder Woman's efforts and reinstates her. We see some of the survivors go there to recover as well. You see that Alan Scott has joined the UN. He's on the board now, so they're reconvening with people. They're not looking at themselves as above them. They're becoming present in the world again.
The guy who was sitting on an emerald throne in space is now on the UN.
Yes. That's how that works. All right.
And then Clark goes to Kansas and digs a grave and puts a tombstone up for every life lost there.
Yes.
What a fucking OD. Like that's, and Wonder Woman says quite a memorial. His response, as it should be. There it is. He's back.
Well, I could be down for going to a superhero themed restaurant.
Yes.
I never touched on it, but I love that part. I love the symbolism.
The Planet
of
Hollywood
superhero
looking,
restaurant.
Yes.
which has crossed over and exists in DC.
So my
Or already did at this
Didn't
point.
Guy Gardner open it?
Nope. Booster
Booster.
Yeah,
Gold.
opened it. Yeah. Guy had the new Warriors bar, right? Or the Warriors bar.
Warriors, yeah.
my
Warriors.
my question I
He
posed to
had the
Mark.
Warriors bar.
Oh Jesus.
What?
I want to say real quick before we, I don't want to hold us too long, but I think it's really important that the kind of the juxtaposition throughout this whole thing of hero and human, or hero and humanity. And we even get that at the end with Norman and the Spectre when they talk, and he takes off his hood
Yeah, we now
and
see-
shows who he really is, the man that he was before he
Yes.
became this creature, so to speak, and reveals himself. And it's really a nice kind of balance to that beginning with Wesley, and how he was kind of that guide in this feverish state,
and we
whereas
get-
now he's seen both sides of the specter as well to finish it out.
we get some of the only jokes really in this book. At this point, because Spectre's like, why is my dish spinach and cottage cheese or whatever? I can't remember the exact.
Hey, he says that's a Spectre platter, spinach and cottage cheese.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I fully believe that Wonder Woman does not get her crown back if she does not kill Von Bach. That is to me, I feel that is the only way. Yes.
That's a strange take, Alan.
No, it's not. Why?
Because do they even know she did?
Yeah, they weren't there.
They know everything.
They're reacting to
How do they know? How do they know the world's not at peace? They're not there.
What were they watching it on TV on their
Because they have
desert
Wonder
island?
Woman as an ambassador. You know what I'm saying? Like they have an ambassador to check in on
Yeah.
the world.
No, I think it was because she was ultimately part of the solution. I would, if they
What
knew
solution?
about
She wanted to go in
murder.
complete opposite way.
Yeah,
The
but she
entire
changed
way.
her mind.
No, she didn't. She
She did.
killed the guy.
Yeah,
she did not change her mind at all.
Okay, Alan.
If she
I
didn't,
disagree.
yeah, if she
I'm not
didn't
gonna
change her
debate.
mind, the bad it would still be going.
Yeah, she'd still be killing people.
No,
Yeah, I think the implication, it's implied that she kind of changed her ways, or she understood
And now
the
she's
other
doing-
side of it. That's why at the end she's there, not just getting her crown, but they tell you that she's become a teacher. All of those people, all those characters there, even some of the worst ones, are there on the island with her because
Yeah,
she's going to be their
Magog.
teacher.
Magog is there.
Yeah,
Getting-
she's
getting
Magog.
she's going
proper,
to be their teacher as to what it means
And
to
then
be
not
an
getting
ambassador of peace.
reconditioned, but getting guidance.
and she's no longer fighting Bruce because she realized
Yeah, if she was still trying to kill people, Batman wouldn't be
Yeah.
still.
He wouldn't be the godfather to her kid.
The best Godfather of all time.
Yeah, I said I don't know if Mark had shown up at that point, but in my perfect world, this all ends with Bruce. Like something happens to Diana and Clark, and Bruce gets to raise a god.
Oh, he's got to go, and the kid's got to go rescue Superman and Wonder Woman or something.
So the end is just Easter egg fun, like tone it down because this was a really ridiculous heavy read. They give you a 1 year later with them all going to the
Mhm.
world of Krypton bar,
Planet Krypton, right?
Planet Krypton, where everything is themed after the DC universe. And they order some stuff and they talk for a little bit. They just shoot the shit about how things better. Again, Easter egg central. There's just a lot of fun stuff to play with in this, from the dishes that they order, and just all kinds of stuff. But eventually, it comes down to the fact that Wonder Woman's pregnant. They want Bruce to be the Godfather. They hug it out, and when they're walking out is the best way to end this book possible.
which is not really how they ended the book because that's not in the 4 issues. Issue 4
Correct.
ends with Norman talking
Yep.
to the Spectre and then preaching.
So
To
you
his-
don't, yeah.
to his-
So you have
so-
this afterwards.
See, I don't even have that. I haven't seen that part
Oh, really?
at all. Yeah,
That's not
Yeah,
in the
it's in
regular
the-
comics. These
it's
life
not in the
Oh,
4
panels.
issues.
Yeah, those last like 8 pages are delightful.
Oh,
Yeah,
They're
and
really
I
good.
feel like it's a better come down off of the story you just read. Like you get a little levity, you get a little
So yeah, when they're walking out of the bar, you see Jim Corrigan and Norman sitting at the bar near the exit, and Clark, Bruce, and Diana are walking out. And Clark's cutting over, looking at him, and you see Jim looking at a menu, the Spectre platter,
yep.
and Norman saying, "Look at it this way. It's flattering to be remembered somehow." And Clark notices Bruce's attention is on them, and he says, "Bruce, you still with us?" And he says, "Sorry, just wondering for a second." Like he recognized something about these two. Something was off.
Yep.
And when they walk out, of course, there's the first appearance of Captain Marvel, Wiz Comics up on the wall, and you have Wesley Dodd's Sandman uniform is up on the other wall in display. It's just fantastic.
Look how
That
Of
was
course, you get the beautiful sketch drawings of our main players in the back. You get the checklist of who's who in the back.
Yeah,
But I do want to call attention to the very, very first page, 1996. Kingdom Come, dedicated to Christopher Reeve, who made us believe that a man can fly. The best comic book dedication that's ever been done, right there. And you see what image it is, Durs? That one of Superman after they all walked away from him and turned their back on him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've gone 2 hours, and I don't want to hold everybody.
Yeah, we really rushed it.
We really did. So I just want everybody, the Becker scale, 1 to 10, you can use 1 decimal point. Everyone go around and say what you're rating this. I'll start us off with, I'm going to add a 9.4. And this is my highest rated story.
I'd go higher than that. I'd go 9.5, 9.6 for me. I mean, just
Yeah.
not just based on story alone, but
I
because
try
of just
not
the
to go too high.
sentimental.
I don't want to say a 10 because what happens if I read something better than this? It could happen.
Sure, you won't, but
I know I won't, but I'm not. But my passion and my love keeps me looking.
sure. Your hope.
Yeah, hope. I have hope.
I'm gonna be right in between you guys. I'm gonna say 9.4, 9.5. It's very, very much up there. It's obviously one of the best things I've ever read. But I mean, knowing that this was written back in 1996, how can there not be something better? I mean, that's just my thought. There's
Well,
20
show us when you show us. We'll concede.
Okay, but I'm not saying I'm gonna find it. I'm just saying that
You don't have
Yeah.
hope.
I do have hope.
You don't believe in. No, I'm talking to Mark. You don't believe.
Oh, of
in
course
hope.
not.
You are for open borders and you want massive prison reform. That's what I got out of today.
Perfect. Durs, as somebody who's not a big DC person, and this is a big pill to swallow for introduction. Where did you take it?
So I will say it is not the greatest story I've ever read, but I will give it 8, 9, 9.
Awesome.
But like,
You're
and that's
not a DC
high
guy,
praise.
so that's
coming
high
from me.
praise.
Somebody
What's the
who's
best thing you've ever read, and
the
what
best
would
thing
you
I've ever
score?
read.
What would you score your highest read? It just gives me a way to gauge where you're at.
Dude, nothing compares to Spawn for me, bro. You know that. Like that,
What a storyline or the whole thing?
Spawn's so like the start of Spawn till now is all one story. It hasn't ended. There hasn't been like arcs or anything really. So like for me, coming as like a main image guy, all these trades and like arcs and comics are stuff I've never really read back as a kid.
Spawny.
Mm-hmm.
Old
But I have a lot. I have these stories like Daredevil Born Again right in front of me. I have Kraven's Last Hunt right in front of me. I have the whole Invincible run that just, you guys are going to hate this, but I already know I'm going to enjoy Invincible more than this book. Invincible to me might be the best story I've ever read, just from the first
I'm not
trade that
offended
I've
by
read.
that.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. You're allowed to like what you want to like.
Right,
Yeah,
but
you're
like I
allowed
said,
to have an opinion.
Yeah.
coming from somebody who's not a DC guy, this year's huge. I have Flash on my pull list. I'm doing a video for Cole's most anticipated books, and the book I'm picking is Superman #1. That's one of my most anticipated
This
books.
isn't
and
an
I'm-
insult, Durs, but you're a newer reader. You're a baby reader. Baby readers never love DC.
Yeah,
didn't like
but
DC
like I
for
said,
the
I'm
first 10
diving full because of like people like Mark and stuff like that giving me those
But
recommendations.
I'm just saying, most readers did not. At least I didn't. I
I cut
didn't
my
like
teeth on
DC for
DC.
10 years.
Same.
Yeah,
I was equally introduced to all of these heroes.
You're
and
a
I was
little
just
different
always-
case because you're a legacy. You had somebody guiding you. I was out making my own.
No, I just had full access to an unbridled collection. Like imagine if you went to a comic shop and could pick what you want. I could do that at home any day of the
Right,
week.
right.
Yeah.
but
And I just
But you
always
had
had
a
that.
guide.
I had
You
a
had somebody to
partner
ask
in
questions.
crime, and you know, raised in the same family by the same people and on the same stuff. And every time we went to the spinner rack, you know, he was grabbing Marvel and I was grabbing DC.
Which
And
works
it's just,
out better.
you know,
That sounds targeted. Like now we have more shit. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm so
yeah. We didn't realize the wisdom of it back then. We just grabbed what we liked, But I was drawn to one, and he was drawn to the other.
personally, I'm so thankful that I've never read these stories, because now that I'm older and have more knowledge with the characters and stuff, I can appreciate some of these books on a totally different level than I would when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, to give my rating, I'd give it a 10, man. This book's a 10 for me. It's been a 10 for me since I was in 3rd grade. I read this book. It's got the nostalgia stuff, the life-changing artwork at the time. I saw superheroes as real life for the first time ever. We didn't have all these movies and stuff like that like we do today. We had some movies, the Batman films, the Superman movies, the 70s Marvel stuff. Hell, I was watching the Tom Tyler Captain Marvel serial growing up even. Like that shit was like normal in my upbringing. And when I saw Kingdom Come, that was the realest superheroes were. And for me, in a lot of ways, it still is. And when I read this, it absolutely changed my life. I read this book more times than I can count at this point, and it remains to me as the greatest story.
So you've got it at a solid 10.
This is the greatest story, not just comic book story. This is the greatest tale ever told to me. To me. That, and again,
I
numerous
would have been shocked if you didn't score it a 10.
Yeah, flawless book. There's literally not a flaw in it.
It would be a 10 for me if I hadn't read The Golden Age a year before. And I saw a
2.0.
Yeah. I mean, so to me, it's like I can't pick one over the other.
The Golden Age doesn't get enough credit.
That's also on the DC Universe app, and it's only 2
Absolutely.
issues, isn't it?
I don't have that app.
It's
4 as well.
Yeah. So, if I hadn't read that and then read this, I could pick one definitive and say this is my 10. But I got to kind of scale them both back a little to keep them even.
Guys, this has been a blast for me. Like,
Same.
I say we do it
more of
again
these.
next. Yeah, I say we do it again next
Sure.
Monday. Same book, same time.
So, moving on to that, next month we will be doing The Last of Us: American Dreams. 4 issues, 4 smaller issues. Obviously, this is the trade for this. This is the trade for Kingdom Come.
We have to buy the first. We have to buy the raw books. Trades don't count. We have to go spend
No.
$300.
No.
Fuck.
No, hell no.
We will not be doing that.
Alan,
Hell
where
no.
can you find
There's
that?
a link down in the description where you can purchase
You'll
this
find me in the
trade
chat.
for under $20.
Mark, this was Alan's choice.
Yeah,
This
about
was
say,
my
I-
choice.
I was at the shop throwing them some like home runs. Like this is Image, or this is Indie, this is Marvel, just trying to switch up, and you come with The Last of Us.
Yes.
Mark, thanks for stopping by.
I got a question though. Does it cover what's in the TV show, or is this all like side story material? Because if that has shit to do with the TV show, I'm not reading it or showing up to your fucking show. I don't want any spoilers.
I have no idea.
You should.
I'm pretty sure
Which
it's a
is
lot of
the
side
best
story
reason
stuff.
Haven't
we've
read it
ever
yet.
had to pick a book.
I think it's a side story stuff.
I believe
I
it.
haven't
No,
read it,
actually,
but I do
believe
think it's side
before the TV show.
Will you do me a favor, Alan? Will you check with Andy and get confirmation on that, please? I'm being serious.
And
I'll
and
read.
just to switch it up, I've played both games, and the Bill episode, none of that was in the game. So they
Yeah,
completely blew. Yeah, they blew
yeah.
they blew my
What I-
my
what
mind
I've-
with that.
From the brief little synopsis I have, I believe this is before the TV show.
Please don't tell me the synopsis of it in fear of it having.
I'm
anything
not.
to do
And
with it.
all I'll tell you is that if it touches on the movie, I will let you know, or on the show, because you don't want any spoilers. I get it.
Yeah, that show's phenomenal. I don't want.
It
I don't
is.
want nothing
It
to
is.
print in my mind.
But that's why I picked it. I picked it because I love the show. So
Yeah, I'm all for expanded universe stuff on properties like that. I read Terminator and Alien stuff. I've read all.
Ooh, I
that.
got a lot of cool expanded
Have you
universe
read
books
any
I would love for you
Avatar
guys to
books?
read.
I've read a few, Mr. Beckerman. I've read a few. Those are
So-
phenomenal. I hate to mention Avatar to people because they assume I'm about to go on a rabbit trail, which I very well can. So I try to keep that at bay.
Put some boots over Avatar.
So-
I hadn't realized you'd seen it yet.
also,
I didn't realize you had been holding yourself back all this time.
I haven't
from,
seen
Yeah,
it, Mark, by the way.
from
me
sharing
Haven't
too
seen
much
it.
Avatar.
so
Haven't seen
two
it.
books that are coming up this year that I'm telling you now ahead of time. Usually we announce the book the month before so you can go and get it and read it. I'm announcing these two early because of different reasons. The first is the X-Men Dark Phoenix saga. One,
God
it's
damn,
a couple issues long, but
A couple,
That's
couple.
a fucking fatty daddy.
dude,
and it's
calm down.
expensive.
No, it's not.
Hey, real quick. Have you thought about
$25.
Have you thought about Invincible Volume 1?
Okay.
It is not.
X-Men, yeah.
Just
actually,
let him
I have.
get through this. Mark.
Okay,
He's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get
Sorry.
there.
X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga. We're talking about that in August. That is the July book. The trade paperback is available May 30th. Go get it because the single issues are expensive. So then we're going to flip into the October book, which is the chat for November 6th, which is Spider-Man Blue. That is only 4 issues. Those single issues are cheap. You can get those off eBay for with no issues. And then
You don't make me read Spider-Man.
you do not want to get the trade paperback. Okay? So
You started talking July and October.
I checked out.
Yeah, I can't plan that far ahead.
Listen, guys, I've learned.
I have
long
Heroes
ago
Con
you have to
in
let
July.
I'm trying to
Jim
figure out what the fuck
come
I'm
up
doing
with
tomorrow.
terrible
Alan.
ideas.
yeah,
to
you
let
do.
him
I'll be
pitch
there.
them.
See? Durs is there.
Yeah.
You can figure
At
out what you're
Heroes
doing
Con,
tomorrow.
I'll be
I know
there.
exactly what you're
I'm
doing
free
tomorrow.
in July. I'm free all the time.
See?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
We were wrong.
You,
It's
you
a great idea.
Hey,
Reach-
I do have to hop off here though, guys.
yeah, I got to get going too. But reach
But
out
This
to
was
Jim
amazing.
on that Dark
Honor
Phoenix.
to be here.
Thank you guys for coming out. It's been
Thank
a
you, sir.
blast. It's been a long time, but it's been good. I'll see you all later.
Peace.